Assalamu everyone, welcome to our channel. The date is Monday, the 17th of August 2026. This is our sixth halakha session on accounting the rulers. The book in question will be in the description. We are on page 126 in the book. This is the professor's original work on accounting the rulers from over 20 years ago. So we are on the section titled Ad-Din Nasiyah. The Deen is advice and sincerity, or more accurately, sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
So the main body text starts at page 128. I'll read, and then at any point the professor can interject as need be. And the word of truth, Kalimatul Haq, is the lowest of the levels of giving advice to the A'immah leaders. Indeed, silence from the one capable of speaking it is considered an act of deceit and treachery. At-Tirmidhi in his Sunan from Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, Muhammad bin Bashar related to us, Safwan bin Isa related to us, from Muhammad bin Ajlan, from Al-Qaqa bin Hakim, from Abu Salih, from Abu Hurairah. He said, the Messenger of Allah said, the Deen is Nasiha 3 times. They asked, "Oh Allah, oh Messenger of Messenger of Allah, to whom?" He said, to Allah, to His book, to the A'immah, the scholars of the Muslims, and to their general masses.
Not the scholars, the leader. A'immah is leaders.
Okay.
Scholar.
Okay, let me just mark that off. A'immah. The leaders and to their general masses. And Abu Isa said this hadith is Hasan Sahih, and it is in the Bab from Ibn Umar, Tamim al-Dari, Jarir, and Hakim bin Abi Zayd from his father and Thawban. And Nisa'i recorded in his Sunan, Kubra, and Ahmad bin Hanbal in his Musnad, amongst others. And Muslim recorded it in his Sahih from Tamim al-Dari, Muhammad bin Abbad al-Makki related to us, Sufyan related to us. He said, I said to Sahel, Umar related to us from Al-Qaqa, from your father. He said, and I fear that he emitted a transmitter. He said, so he said, I heard from the one from my whom my father heard it, from who had been a friend of his in Asham. Then Sufyan related to us from Suhail, from A'ta bin Yazid, from Tamim al-Dari, said the Deen in Nasiha. We asked to the Prophet Sallallahu we asked to the Prophet Sallallahu, to who? He said, to Allah, to His book, to His messenger, to the Imma of the Muslims and their general masses. And that's in Nisa'i, Sunan, Ibn Hibban, Abu Dawood in his Sunan, Ahmad bin Hanbal in his Musnad, Humaydi in his Musnad, Tabarani, his Mujam al-Kabir, and various others are mentioned here in the text. Another narration, Imam ad-Darimi recorded in his Sunan from Abdullah bin Umar with the Sahih, it's not upon the condition of the Bukhari. Ja'far bin Awn informed us from Hisham bin Sa'ad said the Deen is okay, the translation here is that the text has been messed up. From now, I think this is going to have to need some correction here on the text. Let me just see if I can reference the Arabic. أخرجه الإمام الدارمي في سنن أخبرنا أبو محمد بن نحاس حدثنا بن العربي حدثنا إبراهيم هو بن فهد حدثنا أبو حمام الدلال حدثنا هشام بن سعد عن نافع عن بن أمر قال. Okay, so I think some of it's been omitted here. Okay, I'll have to go back to the original and see what's been. Qala, he said to the to Allah, to whom? He said to Allah's messenger, to his book, to the Imma, and the Awam.
General public.
Yeah, and Qadai recorded it as follows in his Musnad Shihab, and Abu Muhammad bin Nahas informed us, related to us. He is Ibn Fahd. Abu Muhammad related to us. Hisham bin Sa'ad related to us from Sa'ad from Nafi. I think what's happened is the formatting is a bit messed up. That's why I've got a bit, so it's pushed to the left. To the right, like it is in Arabic, so it's formatting issue, which makes it confusing. Okay, Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hamad recorded in his Musnad from Zayd bin Habab from Abdurrahman bin Thawban informed me. He said, I heard Amr bin Dinar saying, I was informed by someone who heard Ibn Abbas saying that the Messenger of Allah, the deen is nasiha, and again, it's the same wording. Tabarani recorded in Mujal Kabir. I'm going to skip some of these because it's pretty much the same narration. So for those who want to read it, so they've got Mujal Aswad, and also various other chains. Again, the same wording. Okay, no, this one's slightly different. Okay, this is a different narration. So this is Tabarani in Mujam al-Aswad, Mujam from Hudayfa bin al-Imam, Muhammad bin Shuhaib, Asbahani related to us, Ahmad bin Ibrahim al-Dhami related to us, Abdullah bin Abi Jafar al-Razi related to us from his father, from Arabi, from Abu al-Aliya, from Hudayfa bin al-Yaman. He said, the Messenger of Allah said, whoever is not concerned with the affair, Amr, of the Muslims is not from them, and whoever does not wake up or spend the evening being nasih, sincere to Allah, His Messenger, His Book, His Imam, and the general masses of the Muslim is not from them. At-Tabarani said no one related it from Abu Ja'far al-Razi except his son, and he did not relate from Hudayfa except by this isnad. Okay, continuing. Al-Imam al-Tabarani recorded it in Mujam al-Awsat from Thawban. Ahmed related to us. He said, Muhammad related to us. He said, Ayub bin Suwaid related to us from Umayyah bin Zayd, from Abu Musbih al-Maqra'i, from Thawban, from the Prophet ﷺ. He said, the Ra'as, head or top of the deen, is a nasiha, sincerity. They asked, to whom, O Messenger of Allah? He said, to Allah, to His deen, to His book, to the Ummah of the Muslims and the Muslims in general. At-Tabarani said that the hadith was not related from Thawban except by this isnad, and Ayub was alone in relating it. And Imam Bukhari recorded another hadith in Al-Adab al-Mufrad from Abu Huraira with a Jayyid isnad. Abdullah bin Yusuf related to us. He said Malik informed us from Suhail bin Abi Salih from his father, from Abu Huraira, and the Messenger of Allah the Messenger of Allah is Messenger of Allah is pleased with three matters for you, and He disliked three matters for you. He is pleased for you that you worship Him and do not associate anything with Him, that you hold fast to the rope of Allah together, and that you are sincere towards the one whom Allah has appointed over your affair, and He dislikes for you that you engage in gossip, excessive questioning, and squandering of money or wealth. As Ibn Hibban recorded in his Sahih, Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal in his Musnad, and Malik in his Muwatta, and Bayhaqi in his Sunan al-Kubra, amongst others. And Imam Tabarani recorded in his Mujam al-Kabir by Umar bin Malik al-Ansari, Bakr bin Sahal al-Dumayti related to us,
Dumyati
related to us, Shu'aib bin Yahya at-Tujibi related to us from Ibn Lahiyah, from Yazid, from Abi Habib, from La'ih bin Uqba, that he heard Umar bin Malik said, I command with three and forbid you. I'm assuming three, maybe the Ansari said, he said that the Messenger of Allah, from three, and the Messenger of Allah said, I command you that you do not associate anything with Allah, that you hold fast to the obedience together until the command of Allah comes to you whilst you are upon that, and that you give advice to the rulers from those who command you by the command of Allah. And I forbid gossip, excessive questioning, and the squandering of money or wealth. Therefore, the advice and sincerity to the legitimate imma leaders, those who command us by the command of Allah, is from the greatest of obligations and the most important of demands. Nothing comes before it apart from, Number one, pure and sincere worship to Allah and to Him alone. Two, the preservation of the unity of the Ummah, holding fast to the rope of Allah and keeping clear of division. Okay. Next section. Sorry, this translator has completely messed up this formatting. I'm just going to scan ahead just to see if there's. Oh gosh, we've got 2 years to do this. Okay, give me a second. Next section, Al-Kitab and the Sultan will separate from each other. The following came recorded in Musnad Ashamiyin. Abdullah bin Ahmed bin Hanbal related to us. Al-Haytham bin Kharijah related to us. Sorry?
Bin
Kharijah related to us. And Al-Khattab bin Sa'ad al-Dimishki related to us. Hisham bin Amr and Al-Qasim bin Yusuf bin Yaqub al-Balkhi related to us. Ali bin Hujr al-Mirwazi related to us. They said Abdullah bin Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir related to us, from Al-Wadin bin Ata, from Yazid bin Marthad, from Mu'adh bin Jabal. He said saying, take the Ata gift as long as it remains an Ata. I heard the messenger saying, I heard the messenger saying, take the gift as long as it remains an Ata. However, if it becomes a rishwa, bribery against the deen, then don't take it. And you won't be leaving it because poverty and need will prevent you. Indeed, no doubt the millstone of Islam is revolving, so revolve with the Kitab, i.e. the Quran, wherever it revolves. Indeed, the Kitab and the Sultan will separate, so don't separate from the Kitab. Indeed, there will be Umara, rulers or leaders, who will judge for themselves that which you don't judge for. If you disobey them, they will kill you, and if you obey them, they will lead you astray into misguidance. They asked, O Messenger of Allah, how should we act? He said, just like how the companions of Isa bin Maryam acted. As a result, they were sawn with saws and were lifted upon wood, i.e. crucifixion. Death in obedience to Allah is better than a life in disobedience to Allah. Okay. Next. Tabrani also recorded in his Mujam al-Kabir. Al-Qasim bin Yusuf bin Yaqub al-Balkhi related to us. Ali bin Hujr al-Marwazi related to us. And Khattab bin Sa'id al-Dimishki and Al-Hussein bin Ishaq al-Tustari related to us. They both said, Hisham bin Amr related to us. They both Abdullah bin Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir related to us in its full form in terms of its sanad and matan. At-Tabarani recorded in the Mujam al-Shaghir. Al-Fadl bin Muhammad bin Qasim Abu al-Layth Abu al-Qasim al-Nahwi al-Asqari related to us. Haytham bin Kharijah related to us. Abdullah bin Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir related to us. I heard Al-Wadin bin Ata relating from Yazid bin Marthad he said, take from the Prophet take the gift as long as it remains an ata. However, if it a gift, however, if it becomes a rishwa against the deen, then don't take it, and you won't be leaving it because poverty and need will prevent you. Indeed, the millstone of Bani Murrah has revolved, and Banu Murrah has been killed. Indeed, the millstone of Islam is revolving, so revolve with the Kitab wherever it revolves. Indeed, the Kitab and the Sultan authority will separate, so don't separate from the Kitab. Indeed, there will be Umara, rulers or leaders, who will judge for you. If you were to obey them, they will lead you astray into misguidance, and if you disobey them, they will kill you. They asked, O Messenger of Allah, how should we act? He said, just like how the companions of Isa bin Maryam acted. They were sawn with saws and were lifted upon wood, i.e. crucifixion. Death in obedience to Allah is better than life in disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. Here he added the sentence, indeed, the millstone of Bani Marrah has revolved and Banu Marrah has been killed. I say, that's your statement, I say Banu Marrah or Banu Farah refers to the Persians and the Romans, which will be explained soon, inshallah, from a mursal narration. Okay. Indeed, and some reason he's repeated the same thing, but he didn't put it's not. Okay. Indeed, also. Okay, let's just start repeating the text. And it came recording إضاف الخير المهارة with the following word: take the gift ata as long as it remains an ata. However, if it becomes rishwa upon bribery upon the deen, then don't take it. And you won't be leaving it because fear and poverty will prevent you from that. I just want to query on the wording. I'm just going to read the Arabic, yeah? Let me see if I can find it, yeah? ألا وين إن السلطان والكتاب افترقان ألا فلا تفارقوا في الكتاب. Oh no, that's different. Let me go earlier than that. Okay. خذوا العطاء ما دام عطاء فإذا صار رشوة على الدين فلا تأخذوا ولستم بطريقه
asking for the meaning.
Yeah, so I want to know because it's this bit. It just sounds like, and you won't be leaving it because of fear and poverty will prevent you from that. I'm not sure. That's not worded very.
Yeah, what they say is that take the because at that time the state or the authorities were allocating salaries or allocating sustenance for certain people as a salary, as a well-established salary by law. As long as it is like that, take it, no problem. But if they give it to some people or to you to bribe you to accept their un-Islamic or improper behavior, then don't take it. Then it's a bribe against your deen. So that's we should look carefully for that, what we allocated from the state as a salary. Like for scholars, that address is about scholars and judges and so on. If it is there, you just have salary according to the law, that's not a problem. But if they give it for only those who testify for their piety and all these things, the sycophants will not accept it because it's ritual, it's a bribery, trying to bribe you to forsake your deen. But the situation will be so that you'll be so poor and depressed that you will find barely any way out from that, from taking it, because of poverty and need. But still is a warning. And then that's one. And the middle of the Islam is turning. But one day, the authority and the book of Allah will separate. The authority will not act according to the book of Allah, and vice versa, the book of Allah will not support their activity testify for them. In that case, the only way is to remain with the book of Allah. Don't join the authorities, because joining them will be catastrophic, will end into punishment and hellfire. They ask what you're supposed to do in this situation. Say, even if it gets to imprisonment, killing, and crucifixion, that's still better than so death. When you read the Surah is better than disobedience, than life and disobedience, which will enter to fire and disgrace. Okay, so that translation is okay. Translation until now is okay.
Well, to be honest with you,
the word "ata" meaning the salary given by the authorities. For scholars, allocation as a salary or as a life sustaining. According to their allocation, it shows that we allocate salaries for this, and so on, for this scholarship, work for that, and so on. But really, they intend to bribe you. Then don't take it in that case. And it is very clear what happened. If they connected to taking only that ata, by specifying for them that they are ruling by, they are just and they are legitimate rulers, then it is obviously a bribe against your deen. And this happened for Bani Umayyah, especially in the later phase. They were like Al-Awza'i testified. They didn't give us the ata. persistence, the salary, until we testify that against Ali ibn Abi Talib, that he was misguided and he was a criminal. If you don't give this testimony, you are going to receive the salary. Yeah. Before signing for receiving the salary, what you say about Ali ibn Abi Talib? He is misguided and he's wrong. Okay, you take salary, otherwise no salary. And you sign on that even, on the receipt. That's blatantly. Blatantly a bribe.
Okay. I'm going to continue. So just it's the same text, and this is Al-Hafiz stated Ishaq bin Rahawi related to it better than related from Suwaid bin Abdul Aziz al-Dimashqi, and he is da'if, and Ahmed bin Mani related, it is his narrated al-Thiqah, and they're both parts, wording of the same hadith are the same. Hadith of Ibn of Ishaq can also be found in Mutalib al-Alawi Aliyah bi Zawaid al-Masanid al-Thamaniya. Ishaq said, Su'aid bin Abdul Aziz al-Dimashqi informed us, Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir related to us from Murthad, from Mu'adh bin Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I say this, who related it, I say this is your commentary. This is what came in the printed version. However, it is evident is actually from Abdullah bin Jabir bin Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir, and not from his father Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir, as is apparently from many other paths, and in conformity with what Nu'aym stated in his Hilyat al-Awliya wa Tabaqat al-Asfiya, where he stated, and Ishaq bin Rahawi related it from Suwaid, from Abdullah bin Abdurrahman, from Yazid, from Dun al-Wadin. Okay. Just skipping the next. This hadith is Sahih and its transmitters or narrators Rijal al-Thiqat, trustworthy and reliable and well known. Despite that, Al-Haythami commented upon it in his Majma' al-Zawahid wa Manba al-Fawaid, stating, and At-Tabarani related it, Yazid bin Murthad did not hear from Mu'adh. Al-Wadin was classified as being thiqah by Ibn Hibban and others, whilst the Jama'ah classified him as being weak. The remainder of his transmitters, i.e. the Isnad al-Thiqat, trusted and reliable narrators. I say it's your commentary. His speech concerning Al-Wadin contains an awful shortcoming or failing. That is because the major Imma of Al-Jar and Ta'dil classified him as being thiqah, trusted and reliable, including Ahmad, Yahya, Duhaim, Abu Dawood, Ibn Adi, and Ibn Hibban, who mentioned him in Al-Mashahir al-Amsar. Al-Walid bin Ata Abu Qinana is from Athbat, reliable transmitters from the people of Sham, and from their long-standing shuyukh. He died in the year 149 Hijri. He was also mentioned in Tahdib at-Tadhib, that's in 11-106-205, and in Tariq al-Baghdad, that's amongst other sources. The only ones to classify him as da'if are those who are not relied upon, like Muhammad bin Sa'ad, who did the same thing with Imam Makhul, which could be due to what was attributed to them both of speech related to Al-Qadr, and Al-Judhani, who was a Nasibi, antagonistic to Ahlul Bayt, and Khabith, underhanded, swerving from the Haqq, excessive in Jar'af, i.e. finding weaknesses and points of criticism to disregard narrators, and Abdul Baqi bin Kani, who is not convincing and has also spoken about in terms of criticism directed towards him. As for the speech of Ibrahim bin Ishaq al-Harbi, others are more reliable than him, then that does not necessarily dictate the classification of weakness, as perhaps he only meant that he was not from the highest levels or grades in terms of authenticity. The speech of Al-Walid bin Muslim can be understood similarly when he said he was someone of speeches. he was not that much in respect to the hadith, or perhaps he was just referring to the small amount of hadith that he related. In addition, Ibrahim bin Ishaq al-Harbi and al-Walid bin Muslim are not from the Imam of Jar and Ta'dil. The most serious of the considered state opinions is that from Abu Hatim. He is considered recognized and denied, which indicates that he denied or found some of his hadith to be out of the norm. However, Ibn Adi, after investigation and examination, stated, I do not see Ba's problem or issue with his hadith, and as such dispelled the contention. That is especially when considered alongside authentication of Imam al-Duhaym, who is the source of proof in respect to the scholars of Ash-Sham, and his elevating him above Abu Ma'bad, Hafs bin Ghailan. Consequently, the man is thiqa, trustworthy and reliable. As for the statement of Al-Haythami, Yazid bin Murthad did not hear from Mu'adh, as came stated in Tahdhib at-Tahdhib, in addition to the majority of those who came later, as is stated in at-Tahdhib, and was followed by the author of Jami' at-Tahsil as follows. Yazid bin Murthad al-Hamdani is a tabi who's related mursal narrations from the Prophet ﷺ, and there is nothing problematic in respect to him, and he related from Mu'adh bin Jabal, Abu Dhar, and others from the Syria Sahaba. May Allah be pleased with him. And it is also mursal. He stated that at-Tahdhib he stated in Tahdhib that this reflects imitation of Abu Hatim in the case where he stated in Jarh wa Ta'dil, Yazid bin Murthad Abu Uthman al-Hamdani, he related from Mu'adh bin Jabal and Abu Darda with mursal narrations, and Khalid bin Mad'an, Abdul Rahman bin Yazid bin Jabir, and Al-Wadi bin A'ta related from him. I heard my father state Al-Bukhari was more cautious or circumspect in the case where he stated in At-Tariq Al-Kabir, reference given, Yazid bin Marthad Abu Uthman al-Hamdani al-Shami related from Mu'adh, Abu Darda, and Abu Dhar, whilst Khalid bin Mad'an and Abdurrahman bin Yazid bin Jabir related from him. As such, he stated that he related from Mu'adh Abu Darda and Abu Dhar, although the evidence was not established for him in respect to him hearing directly or not hearing directly. It would have been more prudent from Al-Imam Abu Hatim to have been more cautious, because the large amount of Yazid bin Murthad narrating from those senior Sahaba and the small relatively from others give the impression that he's very old. He was present during their time. However, despite that, Allah willed that that what settles the issue be preserved in the case where the following came in Mashashir al-Amsar. Yazid bin Murthad al-Hamdani Abu Uthman is from the worshipping servants, Ibad, of the people of Sham, and from the reciters. He was from the companions of Mu'adh bin Jabal. This necessitates the conclusion that Abu Hatim bin Hibam must have been well versed in the old or early narrations and sources, which led him to firmly assert that Yazid bin Murthad is very old, i.e. from early generations. He had accompanied Mu'adh bin Jabal until his martyrdom during the plague in Amwas in the 18 after Hijri, where he, i.e. Mu'adh, left behind this famous advice for his companions, as recorded by Imam at-Tirmidhi in his Sunan. Qutayba relates to us, Al-Layth related to us from Muawiyah bin Ibn Salih, from Rabi'ah bin Yazid, from Abu Idris al-Khawlani, from Yazid bin Amira. He said when Mu'adh bin Jabal was on his deathbed, he was asked, "Oh, Abu Abdurrahman, leave us advice." He said, "Sit me up." Then he said, "Verily, ilm and iman concerning their place or location, then whoever seeks them, verily ilm and iman concerning their place or location, then whoever seeks them finds them." He repeated this 3 times, and he said, "Seek knowledge from 4 individuals: Uwaymir Abu Darda, Abu al-Darda, Salman al-Farisi, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and Abdullah bin Salam, who was a Jew before embracing Islam, saying he is the 10th of the 10 in Islam. That is because I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, inshallah, I think this has been abridged, or he's omitted this. So something paradise. I'm guessing they are the 10th of the 10 in Islam in Paradise. I don't know. I think this has been mistranslated, or something's messed up in there. At-Tirmidhi, and this from Sa'd, and this hadith is Hasan al-Sahih Gharib. Ibn Hibban recorded in his Sahih, Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal in Musnad, At-Tabrani in Mujam al-Kabir, Nisai in his Sunan al-Kubra, At-Tabrani, Al-Hakim, Al-Mustadrak, where he said the hadith is Sahih upon the conditions of the two Shaykh, Bukhari Muslim, and Yazid bin Amira al-Sakhsari is a companion of Mu'adh bin Jabal, and Makhul al-Dimishqi testified to that in respect of Yazid, and amongst others. Consequently, we have no doubt that Yazid bin Murthad, following the martyrdom of Mu'adh bin Jabal in compliance with his final advice, met with Abu Darda in Damascus and attached himself to him until his passing in the year 32 or 33. Abu Darda was also in Damascus during that time period, as is known from what took place between himself and Muawiyah. As such, there is no substance to the statement or opinion that he reported in a mursal manner from those three, i.e., he left out the intermediary between himself and then Mu'adh bin Jabal and Abu Darda and Abu Dhar. The time of death of Yazid bin Murthad came later during the period of the rule of Al-Walid bin Abdul Malik, and it is possible that he reached close to 100 years of age, and Allah is the most knowledgeable and exact. In conclusion, the Isnad is therefore muttasil, connected without breaks, and the hadith is sahih. Evidential proof is established by it, especially when the following supporting evidences are taken into account, and all praise belongs to Allah, the Rabb of the worlds and all creation. An intriguing mursalah narration came recording in Tartib al-Amali al-Khamisiyya of Ash-Shajri, which acts as supportive evidence for the aforementioned hadith, just as the hadith acts as supportive evidence for the mursalah narration. Al-Sharif Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Ali bin al-Hasan al-Hasani informed us with my reading to him. He said, Muhammad bin Ali bin al-Hakam informed us. He said, Hamad bin Amr al-Ijli informed us as a reading to him. He said, Ahmad bin Isa bin Harun al-Ijli related to us. He said, Ali bin Amrus al-Ansari related to us. He said, Abu Amara al-Ansari related to us from Ibrahim bin Muhammad, from Hamza bin Hamza al-Ju'fi, from al-Imam al-Shahid, Abu al-Hussein Zayd bin Ali bin
Hussein bin Abi Talib.
Yeah.
Zayd.
It's been muddled up. The translation, his formatting's made it muddled. He said, take the gift as long as it is a gift. If it becomes rishwa from the Prophet, from your bribery from your deen, then don't take it. But they will not be abandoning it, being prevented from that by poverty and need. Verily, Bani Farrah, the Persians and the Romans have all revolved. And verily, the millstone of Islam is revolving. So wherever the Quran revolve with it. The time is close that the Sultan and the Quran will be separated from each other, and they, i.e. the rulers, who rule by a ruling and rule for themselves by a different ruling. If you were to obey them, they would misguide you, and if you disobeyed them, they would kill you. So in such circumstances, be like the companions of Isa, peace be upon him. They were sawn with their swords and were raised upon wood, i.e. to be crucified. Verily, a death in obedience of Allah is better than a life in disobedience of Allah. The first that was violated from Bani Israel was that they used to command the ma'ruf and forbid the munkar in a manner that would absolve the one who had committed the munkar or failed to undertake the ma'ruf. When one of them would meet his friend whom he had denounced, he would sit, eat, and drink with him as if he had not denounced him for anything. And so Allah cursed them upon the tongue of Dawood and Isa bin Maryam. أولئك الذين كفروا من بني إسرائيل على لسان داود وإيسى بن مريم ذلك بما عصوا وكانوا يعتدون. That's Ma'idah 78. Cursed were those who disbelieved among the children of Israel by the tongue of Dawood and of Jesus, the son of Mary. That was because they disobeyed and habitually transgressed. That's Ma'idah 78. by the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you must command, sorry, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad, you must command the ma'ruf, you must forbid the munkar, and you must take the zalim, oppressor to task, compel him firmly upon the truth, or Allah will strike your hearts against each other. However, Hamza bin Abu Hamza Maymun al-Ju'fi is matruk, mataham, disregarded and accused, although it is possible that in this case he preserved the narration and was truthful concerning it. A gharib hadith similar to the one above came recorded in Asad al-Ghabah, although it explicitly spoke about the Umara. Abdullah bin Abdurrahman related from Muhammad bin Yazid al-Bazzar, from As-Sarif bin Abdullah al-Sulaimi, from Hatim bin Rabi'ah al-Amiri, from Abdullah bin Abdullah, from his uncle Nafi, Abu Suhail. He said Abu Musa al-Ashari related to us, and he was from among the best of the companions of the Prophet, when he said, we were sitting with the Prophet companions of the Prophet, I think, and verily the millstone of Islam, Iman, is revolving, so revolve with the Quran where it revolves. They asked, what if we were unable to do that? He said, then be like the disciples of Isa bin Maryam, peace be upon him. They were split apart by swords, and they were crucified upon wood, and verily a death in obedience to Allah, is better than a death in disobedience. Indeed, there were umara, rulers and leaders among Bani Israel, who used to transgress against them, but that did not prevent them from eating and drinking with them, and approaching and supporting them. When that appeared from them, their hearts were struck against each other. Abdullah bin Abdurrahman said, I mentioned it to Bukhari, and he denied or rejected it. He did not know Abu Musa nor Hatim bin Rabi'ah. Ibn Manda and Abu Nu'aym recorded it like that in Asad al-Ghabah. However, al-Hafiz said in al-Isabah fi Tamid al-Sahaba, and Ubaidullah bin Wasil al-Rawi said to him from Darimi, I mentioned him to Muhammad Ismail al-Bukhari, and he denied or rejected it. And he did not know Abu Musa al-Ansari nor Hatim bin Rabi'ah. I said, and Abu Nu'aym has recorded it from another direction from Muhammad bin Yazid. However, he said from Jabir bin Rabi'ah from Abu Anas, and he said he exchanged Nafi Abu Suhail with Muhammad bin Nafi bin Abdul Harith, and Allah is most knowledgeable. And Ibn Manda, who mentioned that Muhammad bin Ismail al-Ja'fari related it from Muhammad bin Ja'far from Malik, from his paternal uncle Abu Suhail. He said, Anas bin Malik related to us. He said, it is therefore possible, as some of the narrators gave of Anas bin Malik the kunya of Abu Musa due to his son Musa. I say Abu Nu'aym pushes this possibility, and in the chain of in the sanad to Malik there exists who is not verified or authenticated. I say being unaware of Sahabi Abu Musa has no negative impact, and Abu Nu'aym stated it is possible that this Abu Musa was Anas bin Malik, and being unaware of Hatib bin Rabi'a al-Amri does not have a negative impact because he came linked together with Abdullah bin Abdullah, on the same level of the chain. As for Abdullah bin Abdullah, that he was Abdullah bin Uwais bin Malik bin Abi Amir al-Asbahani, Abu Uwais al-Madani, who was related to Malik through marriage. He was Saduq Yahim, an element of weakness in his accuracy, from the 7th generation, and died in the year 167 Hijri. The Jamhur, i.e. main Shahi collectors, recorded from him with the exception of Bukhari, as came stated in At-Taqrib, and Nafi bin Suhail was Nafi bin Suhail bin Malik. Okay. In addition, I found another direction or angle in Ma'rifat al-Sahaba of Abu Nu'aym. Muhammad bin Ahmad bin al-Hasan related to us. Muhammad bin Uthman bin Abi Shaybah related to us. Ahmad bin Musarrif al-Yami related to us. Muhammad bin Yazid al-Bazar related to us. Sarir As-Sari bin Abdullah As-Sulaimi related to us from Jabir bin Rabi'ah, and Abu Uwais from Muhammad bin Nafi bin Abdul Harith. Abu Suhail, Abu Musa al-Ansari related to us, who was from the best of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, I'm skipping a bit here because I'm not sure if it starts, when he said to us, indeed, Bani Marj.
Maybe I misspelled this.
Yeah, this translation basically it's been formatted, so some one lines above the others. This needs to be rechecked. We were sitting with the Prophet, and indeed, the millstone of Islam is revolving, so revolve with the Quran wherever it revolves. They said, and what if we are unable to do that? He said, then be like the disciples of Isa. They were split in two by swords and were crucified upon wood. And verily, a death in obedience to Allah is better than a life in disobedience to Him. Indeed, there were umara among Bani Israel who used to transgress against them. When Allah saw that from them, He struck their hearts against each other. Abu Nu'aym then commented, Abdullah bin Abdurrahman al-Samarqandi related it from Muhammad bin Yazid and stated from Hatim bin Rabi'ah instead of from Jabir. And he said from his eternal uncle Nafi, Abdullah bin Samarqandi stated, I mentioned it, i.e. the narration to al-Bukhari, and he denied it. And he did not know Abu Musa nor Hatim bin Rabi'ah. He related some of the wording, i.e. of the narration, from Malik bin Anas, from his paternal uncle Abu Suhail bin Malik, from Anas bin Malik. It is possible that Abu Musa was Anas bin Malik, as he had a son whom he named Musa, and some of his transmitters gave that as his kunya, i.e. Abu so-and-so. He was a companion of the Prophet ﷺ and one of the best. I say the narration of Al-Imam Abdullah bin Abdurrahman as-Samarqandi ad-Darimi is more deserving of precedence and acceptance. Straight after the previous hadith, Abu Nu'aym presented the narration of Al-Imam Malik, mentioned above in Ma'rifat as Sahaba of Abu Nu'aym. He said, Ibrahim bin Ahmad bin Abi Hussein related to us a hadith of Malik. Abu Ubayd bin Ghannam related to us. Ja'far bin Abi al-Hussein related to us. Muhammad bin Ismail al-Ja'fari related to us. Muhammad bin Ja'far related to us from Malik bin Anas from his paternal uncle. Abu Suhail from Anas bin Malik from the same, i.e. the text of the previously mentioned hadith. I say this is what the Prophet ﷺ came in the print, stated in the print, Ja'far bin Abi al-Hussein. However, the correct name is Ja'far bin Abi al-Hasan al-Khawari. In addition, Muhammad bin Ja'far is an error, and the correct name is Musa bin Ja'far bin Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Ali bin Abdullah bin Ja'far bin Abi Talib, the paternal uncle of Muhammad bin Ismail al-Ja'fari. This is evident from the pursuance of the other paths. Either Ja'far bin Abu al-Hasan, whom they spoke about due to this hadith in particular. However, the following came stated in Lisan al-Midan. Ja'far bin Abu al-Hasan al-Khawari is a sheikh. Sorry? Khawari is a sheikh whom Ibn Ghanam related from. Ad-Daraqutni said he is matruk, i.e. discarded, and Ibn al-Jawzi mentioned it. End of speech. And Ad-Daraqutni also said in Gharab Malik, Ja'far is da'if. After presenting his narration from Muhammad bin Ismail al-Ja'fari from his paternal uncle, Musa bin Ja'far bin Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Ali bin Abdullah bin Ja'far from Malik, from his paternal uncle, Abu Suhail from Anas bin Malik, that he raised in the chain, i.e. to the Prophet. Indeed, the millstone of Bani Marra has revolved with the Quran, wherever it revolves to the end of the hadith, which relates to the subject of commanding the ma'ruf. And he said, it is not verified from Malik. Then I find it among the narrators of Malik to Al-Khatib, which he recorded via the path of Muhammad bin Hassan al-Naqash al-Mufassir from Abu Ja'far Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Abi Khalid from Al-Hussein bin Al-Hasan Al-Razi from Muhammad bin Ismail Al-Ja'fari. He said it is Gharib from Malik, which Al-Ja'fari was alone in relating from him. I say, on this basis, Al-Khawairi has been absolved of his uhda, charge, responsibility, due to the corroboration of Al-Hussein bin Al-Hasan for him in his narration from Muhammad bin Ismail. Or he could be referring to Musa bin Ja'far bin Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Ali bin Abdullah bin Ja'far bin Abi Talib. In the case where the following came stated in Mizan al-I'tidal, Musa bin Ja'far bin Ibrahim al-Ja'fari from his father, from Abdullah bin Ja'far, I heard the saying, Ja'far resembles the Prophet saying, Ja'far resembles me in my appearance and character. As for you, O Abdullah, then you resemble Allah's creation of your father, i.e., he resembles his father. His nephew, son of his brother, Muhammad bin Ismail bin Ja'far al-Ja'fari, related it from him. Al-Aqili said, his hadith requires scrutiny or has some question marks concerning it. Muhammad bin Uthman al-Absi related it to us. Abu al-Tahir al-Alawi informed us. Muhammad bin Ismail related to us. Al-Hafiz transmitted the exact same in Lisan al-Mizan and then added, and he has previously been mentioned during the biography of Ja'far bin Abi al-Hasan al-Harazi, and that he was alone in relating from Malik, a reported tradition, khabar, which was a very munkar, rejectable. I say, that's your commentary, I do not know what has agitated Al-Aqili so much about the aforementioned hadith. Ja'far resembles me in my appearance and character. As for you, O Abdullah, then you resemble Allah's creation of your father, i.e., resembles his father. As similar to this textual content has been related via many sahih and hasan paths. As for the khabar, which he was alone in relating and which Al-Hafiz greatly disapproved or rejected, i.e., he said it is very munkar, then that does not indicate rejecting the hadith of the man or accusing him. That is because the matan is not munkar, or it has been related via other paths, whilst the only strangeness or peculiarity was due to the fact that it came from Imam Malik. That is why, whilst Musa bin Ja'far bin Ibrahim was apparently from the nobles of people, from the people of trade and commerce, and not from those who pursued knowledge and collected it. He only has a few hadith. It may therefore be the case that Al-Imam Malik mentioned this hadith incidentally when he heard the people mentioning its meaning at a walima or social occasion, whilst he refrained from relating it in the gatherings of knowledge, because his uncle Abu Suhail is not upon the grade of his conditions in relation to the transmitters or narrators, Rijal. Consequently, the path of Imam Malik, despite its peculiarity, adds strength to this hadith. Al-Imam al-Tabarani recorded the following in his Mujam al-Kabir via Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Ishaq bin Ibrahim bin Abi Hassan al-Anmati related to us. Hisham bin Ammar related to us. Al-Walid bin Muslim related to us. Bukhair bin Ma'ruf related to me from Muqatil bin Hayyan from Al-Qasim bin Abdurrahman from his father from Abdullah. He said, O Ibn Mas'ud, I said at your service 3 times. He said, do you know the messenger? He's a messenger of Allah. Do you know which of the bonds of Iman are the most firm and strongest? I said, Allah and His Messenger are the most knowledgeable. He said, Al-Wala, loyalty for the sake of Allah, the love for the love for the sake of Allah and hatred for the sake of Allah. Then he asked, Oh Ibn Mas'ud, I said, at your service, O Messenger of Allah. He said, which of the believers is the best? I replied, Allah and His Messenger knows best. He said, those who, when they know their deen, excel in their actions. He continued, O Ibn Mas'ud, do you know which believers are the most knowledgeable? I said, Allah and His Messenger know best. He said, when they differ or disagree amongst each other, and he interlaces his fingers. It is one from them who sees the truth most clearly, even if there is some deficiency in his actions, or even if he crawls towards it. Then he said, "O Ibn Masud, did you know that the children of Israel split into 72 sects, only 3 of them which were saved? A group who established themselves among the kings and the tyrants, inviting to the deen of Isa, they were seized and killed with swords and burned by fire, but they persevered patiently until they met Allah. Then another group arose, lacking strength and unable to establish justice. So they sought refuge in the mountains, became worshippers, and lived a monastic life. Allah mentioned them saying, ورهبانية تبتدعوها ما كتبناها عليهم إلا ابتغاء رضوان الله فما رعوها حق رعايتها فأعطينا الذين آمنوا منهم أجرهم وكثير منهم فاسقون. Surah Al-Hadid, verse 27, but the monasticism which they invented for themselves, we did not prescribe it for them. Rather, they only did that seeking the pleasure of Allah. However, they did not observe it with due observance. So we gave the ones who believed among them their reward, but many of them were defiantly disobedient. And a third from them who believed, they are the ones who believed and were affirmed or declared my truth, affirmed me or declared my truth. They are the ones who truly observed it, giving it its due right. Although many of them are rebelliously disobedient, they are the ones who do not believe in me or testify to my truthfulness. They are the ones who do not truly observe it, providing it with its due right. They are the ones whom Allah declared to be fasiqun. This isnad is Hasan by itself, in itself, and the hadith, as will be made evidence in the appendix, is Sahih, when accompanied by its supporting and corroborative evidence, a portion of which we will present here. It also confirms to the historical reports concerning the struggles which took place amongst the tyrannical kings and the followers of Isa bin Maryam, and all praises and glory and graciousness belongs to Allah. Okay, so far, any commentary, Doc?
No, the meaning is clear. Just the issue of confronting the rulers and so on, and preference of death over life if it gets to such a confrontation.
Okay.
That's the gist of the whole thing.
Okay, continuing.
Mhm.
At-Tabarani recorded the following in Mujam al-Kabir via a completely independent path. Mu'adh bin al-Muthanna related to us, Abdurrahman bin al-Mubarak al-Ash'ari related to us, Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Hadrami related to us, Shayban bin Faruq related to us. They both said As-Sa'iq bin Hadn related to us, Aqil al-Ja'di informed me from Abu Ishaq al-Sabi'i from Suwaid bin Ghafala from Ibn Mas'ud. He said the Messenger of Allah sallallahu came to me and said, "Oh, Ibn Mas'ud." I said, "At your service, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu." He said, "Do you know at your service?" He said it 3 times. I don't know if he means your service. Yeah. So he asked, "Do you know which of you the?"
I went labbaik at your service. I responded.
Okay.
Labbaik 3 times.
Do you know which of the bonds of Iman is the most firm and strongest? I said, Allah's Messenger know best, but are most knowledgeable. He said, the strongest and firmest of the bonds of Islam is al-walaya, loyalty for his sake, love for his sake, and hatred for his sake. He then said, "Oh, Ibn Masud." I said, "At your service, O Messenger of Allah." So he said it 3 times. He said, "Do you know which of the people is the best?" I said, Allah and his Messenger are most knowledgeable. He said, the best of the people is the best of them in his action if they have gained knowledge in their deed. He then said, "Oh, Ibn Masud." I said, at your service. He said, "Do you know which of the people is most knowledgeable?" I said, Allah and the Messenger are most knowledgeable. He said, The most knowledgeable of the people is the one who sees the truth most clearly when the people have differed or fallen into disagreement, even if he was deficient in actions and even if he crawls on his backside. Those who came before me differed into 72 groups. 3 of them were saved and the rest were destroyed. There was a group who confronted the kings and they fought them upon their deen and the deen of Isa bin Maryam. The kings seized them and then cut them apart with swords. And there was a group which did not have the power to stand up against the kings, nor to establish themselves among them to call them to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal and the deen of Isa bin Maryam. So they traveled in the land and adopted a monastic life. He said, and they were those whom Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in Surah وَوَهَبْنَا نَبِيًّا تَضَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ.
ورهبانية ابتدعوها.
But the monasticism which they invented for themselves, we did not prescribe it for them. Again, Surah Hadid 27. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever believed in me and affirmed me and followed me has fully observed its rights. And whoever did not follow me, then they are those who are ruined or destroyed. At-Tabarani also recorded in his Mujam al-Saghir, in his Mujam al-Awsat, Abdullah bin Ahmed bin Khalad al-Qattan al-Basri related to us, Shayban bin Farouk al-Ubuli related to us. He said the same in its complete form, i.e. as a previous narration. He then stated no one related it from Abu Hisaq apart from Aqil, which As-Sa'iq was alone in relating. At-Tayalisi recorded in his Musnad, As-Sa'iq bin Hazan related to us. He then quoted the beginning of it until the statement, and even if he crawls upon his backside. Al-Bayhaqi also recorded it via the path of Tayalisi and in Sunnah al-Kubra, mentioning only the sentence related to loyalty and animosity. Al-Hakim recorded the following with the Sahih Isnad from Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Abu Hafs Ahmad bin Hanbal the Faqih related to us at Asad Bukhara. Salih bin Muhammad bin Habib al-Hafiz related to us. Abu Bakr bin Abi Shaybah related to us. Abu Osama related to us. He said, I heard Safwan bin Sa'id saying, Al-A'mash informed us, Abu Amara informed us from Silah bin Jufr, from Abdullah bin Masud, may Allah the Most High be pleased with him. He said, there will be Umrah over you who will abandon from the Sunnah like this amount. And he pointed to the base of his finger, indicating to a small amount. But if you leave them, and there was no Ummah except At-Tamat al-Kubra, they will bring about the massive calamity that the first thing that they established.
No, there's read jumped a line, I think.
Yeah, I have run this is a formatting. Let me just read the Arabic then. Yeah. Okay. يكون عليكم أمراء يتركون من السنة مثل هذا وأشار إلى أسفل إصبعه يريد تقليل
very little like this.
وإن تركتموهم جاءوا بالطاعة التامة الكبرى وإنها لم تكن أمة إلا كان أول ما يتركون من دينهم السنة وآخر ما يدعون الصلاح ولولا أنهم يستحيون ما سلوا هذا أثر الصحيح. وقال الحاكم على شرط الشيخين ولم يخرجاه ووقاه الذهبي وهو كما قال غاية في الصح. Okay, so I mean, translation, I don't know, they'll bring the first thing they abandoned. I'll just translate the last bit. Yeah, so the first thing they abandoned from the deen was the Sunnah, and the last thing they abandoned was the Salah. And if they had not been embarrassed, they would not have performed the prayer. and it's upon the condition of the two sheikhs this authenticity. I'll just abridge that bit, yeah. Well, that bit definitely this whole section needs to be I need to check. It's just basically because what's happened is it's translated it, and because when Word and when it kind of merges, and then it's just I've come across this before, but yeah, I'm just going to need to be reworded. It also came in Mujab al-Sahih Isnad, and with the following wording related from Ali bin Mushir, related from Amash, from Abu Umara, from Silah bin Zufr, from Abdullah. He said there will be Umara who put aside or abandon from the Sunnah like this amount. If you leave it, they will make it become like this. Then if you leave it, they will bring about the massive calamity. Al-Hakim only criticizes the two sheikhs, not recording it because despite it being mawquf, i.e. from the speech of Abdullah bin Masud, stopping the chain prior to the Prophet ﷺ, it is nevertheless definitely marfu related to the Prophet because it is a prophecy about a matter that has yet to happen from the future unseen matters. Unseen matter, and may refuge be sought in Allah from the possibility that Abdullah bin Masud, may Allah be pleased with him, claimed the prophethood or knowledge of the unseen. We can only conclude that Abdullah bin Masud, may Allah be pleased with him, heard it from the Messenger of Allah, and that it came with the wording as it resembles his speech. The narration emphasized taking the ruler to task and accounting him upon the occurrence of the slightest deviation. It is therefore impermissible to leave him to his own devices and approve of his authority. Otherwise, the pace of deviation will increase and the enormity of the sinful acts of disobedience would surge in terms of killing, the violation of honors, and stealing of properties. That would be followed by At-Tamatul Kubra, the great calamity, which is the appearance of disbelief, of open disbelief, taking the disbelievers as allies and waging war against them. Abdullah bin Masud spoke correctly. When the Ummah neglects that duty, it was afflicted in its past and its present by lowliness, disgrace, humiliation, and attacks by its enemy, to the point that it was invaded in the very heart of its homeland. This is something that you can see with your own eyes, not just what you hear as a narrative or receive as a report. It applies directly to now.
Mm-hmm.
The following came recorded in the Musannaf of Abi Shayba with this isnad that is Hasan Sahih, Waqi related to us from Sufyan, from Habib, from Maymun bin Abi Shabib. He said, Udayfa was asked, did Bani Israel disbelieve in one day? He said, no, rather they were exposed to fitna, trials, tends to take away from the deen. They would approach them and be coerced upon them. Then they were exposed again, and they would approach them until they were struck by whips and swords, until they waded the waters, and until they no longer recognized a ma'ruf and no longer rejected or denounced a munkar, evil. Okay, continuing. Abu Hussein Muhammad bin Ahmad bin Abdurrahman al-Malti al-Asqalani, who died 367 Hijri, mentioned it with more complete wording, but without an isnad. He stated in At-Tanbih wal-Rad ala ahlul ahwa wal-bid'ah. A man approached Hudayfa and asked him, "Oh, Abu Abdurrahman, did Bani Israel disbelieve in a single day?" He said, "No, rather they were exposed to fitna, trials in terms of attempts to take the people away from the deen, and then they rejected it. Then they were coerced upon it until they entered into it. They were then exposed to even more than that, but they rejected it and were then beaten upon it until they entered into it. Then they were exposed to it even more than that, but they rejected and were beaten upon it until they said, 'By Allah, we will never enter into this.' They were then beaten upon it until they entered into it, until they slipped out from their deen, like one of you slips out of his shirt." We necessarily know through our senses and ration that compulsion and coercion by whips and swords is only undertaken by rulers and those in authority. The hadith of Hudayfa informs us that the manner in which Bani Israel attempted to deal with the fitna, i.e., the attempt to take them away from the deen, by resisting or refuting it, and only resisting or refusing was an attempt doomed to failure and was unproductive. The correct and productive manner of treating the guided is firstly to take those. Oh, this is firstly take those is what the infallible is to take this is what the infallible better mankind. They're so badly formatted. First, is a infallible mankind behind the fitna to task and hold them to account. I think what you're saying is to take the example of what the infallible better mankind tell us in regards to fitna and oppressors is to hold them to account. I'm just paraphrasing here. If they don't refrain, it then becomes obligatory to depose them and remove them. If that cannot occur peacefully, then it must be by war. That is, as he said, the Imma rulers are from Quraysh 3 times. Behold, they have a right over you, and you have a right over them. And this is the Ibn Hibban, famous hadith you mentioned in later treatise. When mercy is sought from them, they show mercy. When they make a covenant, they fulfill it. And when they judge, they are just. Whoever does not do this, then the curse of Allah, the angels, and all the people is upon him. Allah will not accept anything from him in exchange or ransom. If they do not do this, then place your swords and do not be miserable farmers and wipe out their khadra'hum.
I agree. That section is very bad. No,
it's just the formatting. It's all over the place. It's not so much. It's just the guy didn't bother doing the proper job of putting it into Word and then adjusting the formatting, despite having it for 2 years. Okay. Okay, so that's the famous hadith, which is also in a separate treatise anyway.
Disappointing.
Don't worry, I'll have to do that. I'll have to go through I'll probably put it in through Google Translate before we do the finalized copy. But anyway, people can read this. Inshallah, we'll clear it up. There was expected to have some kind of formatting issue. I didn't realize it was going to be this bad. But anyway, it's still manageable.
Okay, delay it until we re-edit the book in Arabic first, so clean it from the ground up anyway. Then translate block by block, so paragraph by paragraph.
I mean, on the bright side, he has actually done that. It's just, I think he's just didn't bother doing proper thorough check afterwards. Okay, so the next section is whoever approaches the doors of the Sultan will be led astray. Standing at the doors of the Sultan reflects a stance of submissiveness, self-abasement, humiliation, and begging, approaching them for provision and asking for money, or for the purpose of praising, adulation, and flattering them is the same. It represents a major danger and great fitna, a source to be taken away from the deen. And Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal recorded in his Musnad, Ya'la related to us, and Muhammad informed us they both said Hassan bin al-Haqqab related to us from Uday bin Thabit from a sheikh from the Ansar from Abu Hurairah. He said the Messenger of Allah said, whoever lives a Bedouin's life will become rough-mannered. Whoever pursues the game will become negligent. And whoever approaches the doors of the Sultan will be subjected to fitna, i.e. that which takes him away from the deen. And no slave increases his closeness to the Sultan except that he increases his distance from Allah. Abu Dawood also recorded it like this in his Sunan, and Ibn Rahway in his Musnad with the following isnad. Isa bin Yunus informed us, Al-Hasan bin Al-Haqam Al-Nakhri related to us. Al-Imam Ad-Daraqutni stated in Al-Ilal Al-Warida fi Al-Hadith Al-Nabawiyah. And Hatim bin Ismail, Ya'la bin Ubaid, and Yahya bin Isa Al-Rami related it from Al-Hasan bin Hakam, from Adi bin Thabit from a sheikh from Ansar from Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, the Messenger of Allah's narration. I say the following is correct from a sheikh from Ansar from Abu Hurairah, according to the narration of the trusted and reliable Athbat, Muhammad bin Ubaid and Isa bin Yunus, and the famed Thiqat, trusted narrators Ya'la bin Ubaid bin and Hatim bin Ismail. It also confirms to the narration of Yahya bin Isa al-Ramli from Hassan bin al-Hakam al-Nakhi, although he, Yahya, is not strong, i.e. in respect to transmission. As for the narration of Ismail bin Zakaria al-Khalqani, Shakhusa, which states from Abu Hadim from Abu Huraira, as came recorded in the Musnad of Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and other sources, and the narration of Shariq, recorded by Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal in his Musnad and Abu Ya'la in his Musnad, which states from Adi bin Thabit, said that then they are most likely errors from Al-Bara. He said, and should not be relied upon, I think. Okay. Okay. If does not, so the hadith does not stand as evidential proof due to the lack of clarity surrounding the sheikh from the Ansar. However, the hadith is categorized as sahih due to two matters. The Adi bin Thabit al-Ansari is from the fourth, i.e. generation of transmitters, below the Wusta category of the Tabi'in, and most of his shuyukh, especially from those who are from Ansar, were among the Sahaba and the Senior Tabi'in, who were testified for in terms of their sidq and amana, truthfulness and trustworthiness. Number two, the testimony of the hadith of Ibn Abbas, which we will now present. At-Tirmidhi recorded in Sunnah from Ibn Abbas, Muhammad bin Bashar related to us, Abdurrahman bin Mahdi related to us, Sufyan bin related to us from Abu Musa from the Prophet. He said, whoever lives in the desert, Wahab from Ibn Abbas, whoever lives in the desert like a Bedouin becomes rough-mannered, whoever pursues hunting becomes neglectful, and whoever approaches the doors of the Sultan has been exposed to fitna, i.e. that which takes you away from the deen. At-Tirmidhi in his chapter from Abu Hurairah, this hadith is Hasan Sahih Gharib from the hadith of Ibn Abbas. We are not aware of it except from the hadith of Ath-Thawri. In some manuscripts, At-Tirmidhi's statement came as this hadith is Hasan Gharib only. This discrepancy is no doubt problematic. Most of the major scholars of hadith, recorded it. Abu Dawood recorded in his Sunan as follows: Musaddad related to us, Yahya related to us from Sufyan, Abu Musa related to me in full in terms of its sanad and matan, except that he said, and whoever goes to the Sultan has been exposed to fitna, i.e. that which takes you away from the deen. And Nisa'i recorded it in his Sunan and in his Sunan al-Kubra, Al-Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal in his Musnad, At-Tabarani in his Mujam al-Kabir, and Al-Bayhaqi in his Sunan al-Kubra, amongst others. Most of the compilers recorded it in their Raqa'iq. I say it's your commentary. The Abu Musa referred to here is Abu Musa as-Sana'ani al-Yamani, is barely known, whilst he is not well known. Whilst he is not the well-known Abu Musa Israel bin Musa al-Basri. Even if Sufyan al-Thawri related from him represents a recognition and accreditation that is not to be taken lightly, which perhaps led Ibn Hibban, based upon his principle, to authenticate him. This now nevertheless does not stand as an evidential proof in itself and in its current state. It is, however, it could be Hasan or even Sahih, based upon the supporting testimony of the aforementioned hadith of Abu Hurairah. That is because they support one another and are not contradictory. That is in addition to the following path. And it came recorded in Shu'ab al-Iman al-Bayhaqi, Abu Abdullah al-Hafiz informed us. He said, Abu Ja'far Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Baghdadi informed us, Yahya bin Uthman bin Salih related to us, Yahya bin Abdullah bin Bukhair related to us, Yahya bin Salih al-Aili related to us from Ismail bin Umayyah from Ata from Abdullah bin Abbas. He said, whoever gets attached to hunting becomes neglectful. Said the Messenger of Allah, Whoever stays in the desert, i.e., the Bedouin life becomes rough-mannered, and whoever goes to or approaches the Sultan will be exposed, i.e., to fitna, i.e., that which takes someone away from the deen. Al-Bayhaqi then stated it was uniquely recorded by Yahya bin Salih with its isnad. Al-Aqili recorded in his in his Abu Du'afa al-Kabir. Rauf bin al-Faraj and Abdul Malik bin Yahya bin Bukhair related to us. Yahya bin Abdul Malik bin Bukhair related to us. He said Yahya bin Salih al-Aili related to me from Ismail bin Umayyah said whoever sticks to hunting from Umayyah, from Ata, from Ibn Abbas, the Messenger of Allah said whoever sticks to hunting becomes neglectful. Whoever stays in the desert, i.e., like the Bedouin, becomes rough. The Bedouin life becomes rough-mannered, and whoever clings to the Sultan will be exposed to fitna, i.e., that which takes someone away from the deen. He said Yahya bin Salih al-Aili from Ismail bin Umayyah from Ata, his hadith are munakir, rejected. I fear that he has been turned around, and it is more likely to have been Umar bin Qais. By this statement, he means that this is not from the hadith of Ismail bin Umayyah from Ata, but rather is more likely to have been from the hadith of Umar bin Qais al-Makki, Sandal from Ata. It is implying that Yahya bin Salih al-Aili confused the book of Umar bin Qais, who is Da'if and Matruq, with the book of Ismail bin Umayyah, who is Thiqa and Mashhur. I say, even if that was true, this path is independent and is more likely that Umar bin Qais al-Makki Sandal preserved it accurately here in this case.
I'm sorry, Umar bin Qais al-Makki Sandal is much better than that, but we'll do that in the next edition, inshallah. Much better than that.
But we can stop soon if you like, because we've gone about 25 pages. And it came recorded in Ma'rifat al-Sahaba of Abu Nu'aym with a Sahih Isnad from Abu Awar as-Sulaimi, may Allah be pleased with him. Sulaiman related to us, Hadrami Muhammad bin Abdullah related to us. He said us, Ubayd bin Ya'ish related to us, Muhammad bin Fudail related to us, from Ismail ibn Abi Khalid from Qais bin Abi Hazm, from a man from Banu Sulaim. He said the Messenger of Allah said, beware of the doors of the Sultan, because verily it has become hard to bear or severe, which means difficult to bear, and a fall in standing to the level of Ta'bun Hubutan statement, one who he has attached to himself to. Ubayd bin Ya'ish, a man from Sulaim, refers to Abu Awar al-Sulaimi, and Yahya bin Abi Zayda related it from Ismail from Qais. I heard Abu Awar al-Sulaimi relating the same as it. Sulaiman related to us. Al-Hadrami related to us. Abu Qurayb related to us. Muhammad bin Abbad bin Abi Zayda related to us from his paternal uncle. Yahya bin Zakaria from Ismail from Qais. I heard Abu Awar al-Sulaimi relating the same as it. The Sulaiman being referred to here is Al-Imam Abu Qasim Sulaiman bin Ayub al-Tabarani, and Albani had in fact authenticated this hadith in Al-Jami al-Saghir wa Ziyadatuhu, and that's in the Shamil page 4437, and it's Silsilat al-Hadith al-Sahiha wa shay min fiqhi wa fawaidiha. It is also came recorded in Tariq Damishq of Ibn Asakir. Abu al-Fath Yusuf bin Abdul Wahid informed us Shuja'a bin Ali informed Abu Abdullah bin Mandah informed Ali bin Muhammad bin Uqba al-Qufi, and Muhammad bin As-Sa'ad al-Abiwardi informed us. They both said Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Sulaiman related to us. Ubayd bin Ya'ish related it to us in its complete form until the end of the speech of Ubayd bin Ya'ish. And it came recorded in Shu'ab al-Iman of al-Bayhaqi. Abu Nasr al-Qatada informed us, he said, Abu al-Hasan al-Siraj informed us, Mu'abbatayn related to us, Ubayd bin Ya'ish related to us, Ibn Fudayl related to us from Ismail bin Abi Khalid from Qais from Oman said, Abu Ja'far referring to Abu Ja'far referred to I can't read this too out of this bit's too convoluted. Okay, anyway, it's very just muddled. No, I'll skip to the next one. Al Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal recorded in his Fadail al-Sahaba. Abdullah bin Abdul Wahhab al-Hajabi related to us. Khalid bin Harith related to us. He said, Tarif bin Isa al-Ambari related to me. He said, Yusuf bin Abdul Hamid related to me. He said, I met Thawban and he saw garments of clothing on me. And then he said, what are you doing with these garments of clothing? And he saw a ring on my hand and said, what are you doing with this ring? Kings are only for the kings. I, Yusuf, said, after that, I never wore another, invited the people. I wore another ring. He said, then Thawban related to us that the Prophet ﷺ, mentioned to us that the Prophet's household, and he mentioned Ali, Fatima, and others beside them. So I said, O Messenger of Allah, am I from the people of the household, Ahlul Bayt? He, Thawban, said, he then remained silent. I did not answer. So I asked again, am I from the people of the household, Ahlul Bayt? He, Thawban, said, he then remained silent. I did not answer. He then said, in response to the third time of questioning, yes, as long as you do not stand up on the Sudda, threshold of the ruler, or approach the Amir, asking him for things. At-Tabarani recorded it in his Mujam al-Awsat and said nobody related this hadith from Ta'rif apart from Khalid. I say this hadith is Hasan Qawi, as has been explained in detail in the appendix. So I'm guessing you've discussed it in the appendix. And the following came recorded in the Sunnah of Ibn Majah. Muhammad bin Sabah related to us. Al-Walid bin Muslim informed us from Yahya bin Abdurrahman al-Qindi. He said, indeed, he said from Abdullah bin Abi Burda, from Ibn Abbas, from the Prophet ﷺ, indeed, some people from my ummah will gain understanding of the deen and recite the Quran. They will say, we will go to the rulers and take some of their worldly goods, and we will keep away from them with our deen. But their outcome will not be like that, just as someone who does not gain anything from the thorny plants except thorns. Likewise, someone does not gain from anything from being close to them except Muhammad bin Sabah said, it is as like he intended sins, i.e., what will be gained from closest to them is only sins. The Rijal are thiqat, and apart from Abu Ubaydullah bin al-Mughira bin Abi Burda, who is not that well known, it is also included and includes the Ana of Al-Walid. It may be for that reason that Albani said da'if. However, Al-Walid bin Muslim explicitly stated that he related it was recorded by At-Tabarani. It came recorded as follows by Tabrani's Mujam al-Awsat. Musa bin Jamhur related to us. Hisham bin Amr related to us. Al-Walid bin Muslim related to us. Abu Shayba Yahya bin Abdul Rahman al-Qindi related to us from Abu Mughira. Ubaydullah bin al-Mughira from Abdullah bin Abbas. He said, the Messenger of Allah said, some people from our ummah will recite the Quran and gain deep knowledge in the deen. Then Shaitan will come to them and say, if you were to approach the kings, you will be able to gain their dunya and stay away from them with your deen. No, the outcome will not be like that. Rather, just as someone does not gain anything from the thorny plant except thorns, likewise, someone does not gain anything from being close to them except sins. Just as it came recorded in the Musnad al-Shamiyin, Ahmad bin al-Mu'alla al-Dimishki related to us, Hisham bin Amr related to us, and Muhammad bin Harun bin Muhammad bin Bakr al-Dimishki related to us, Al-Abbas bin al-Walid al-Khalal related to us. They both said Al-Walid bin Muslim related to us, Yahya bin Abdurrahman al-Qindi, Abu Shayba related to us from Ubaidullah bin al-Mughira bin Abu Burda from Ibn Abbas from the Prophet ﷺ. There will be some from my ummah that will gain knowledge in the deen and recite the Quran while saying we will approach the Umara and gain a share from their worldly goods while keeping away from them with our deen. It will not be like that, just as is gained from the thorny plants except thorns. Nothing is gained from getting close to them apart from sins. Okay, I'll do this last page and we can last couple of pages and we can go. Someone who has no insight in the Arabic language, the styles employed by the Arabs and their customs in speech may think that the aforementioned hadith prohibit approaching rulers in whoever approaches the door of the Sultan in an absolute sense. Due to this statement, whoever approaches the doors of the Sultan will be subjected to fitna, i.e. that which takes him away from his deen. His statement, as long as he does not stand upon the threshold, i.e. of the ruler, and the statements are similar to that. The truth, however, is that applies to the one who approaches their doors asking or to flatter and praise. That is because the Arabs do not say about the person who approached them to command, forbid, and advise that he has approached the door of so-and-so. Rather, they say he spoke to or addressed so-and-so person, or that he stood up before so-and-so person and commanded and forbade him. This was clarified by one who is more eloquent and pure in the Arabic language when he said, as long as you do not stand upon the sudda, threshold of the ruler, or approach the Amir asking him for things, and they will say, we will approach the Umara and gain a share from their worldly goods while keeping away from them with our deen. It will not be like that, just as it is gained from as nothing is gained from the thorny plant except thorns. Nothing is gained from getting close to them except sins. With all praise and thanks to Allah, this is as clear as the sun in the sky. We merely intended to apply caution to some of the fallacies of some of the non-Arab followers of the fuqaha who are loyal to the rulers and the students of the mashayikh of the Saudi family. Those who have been swarming the scene in recent times, giving fatwas, declaring matters halal, haram, and even declaring disbelief and innovation upon others, while they are the most ignorant of Allah's creation in respect to the sunnah and furthest away from the fiqh of the language of the Arabs. Consequently, entering the proximities of the rulers is a great fitna and severe test. The authority is in their hands, the wealth is in their hands, and the sword is in their hands. As such, whoever is incapable of handling this threatening intimidation, al-irhab, should stay away, just as has been stated in the numerous aforementioned texts. Whilst whoever is compelled to enter their proximity, and whoever believes that he can deal with that threatening intimidation, then he should do so with excellence and should speak with excellence. That is because the following came recorded in Mujam al-Zawahid in the chapter heading Al-Imam, in the chapter heading this chapter of speaking before the Imam. Imam al-Haythami from Ibn Umar said, whoever attends to the company of an Imam, he said, the Messenger of Allah said that he should, the Messenger of Allah said, whoever attends to the company of an Imam, then he should say khair or he should be silent. Al-Imam al-Haythami said, At-Tabarani related it in Al-Awsat, and the Isnad includes within it Sahih Salih bin Muhammad bin Ziyad, who was authenticated or declared reliable and trustworthy, thiqa, by Ahmad and bin Ibn Adi, was classified as da'if by a group, i.e. of hadith scholars. The remainder of transmitters are sahih. I say rather he is sahih. Salih bin Muhammad bin Zaida Abu Waqid al-Laythi, someone who was known for his worship, going out in military expeditions, and al-jihad. However, he was da'if in hadith, albeit not extremely weak. His hadith are recorded, and he was most criticized for the hadith, the ghal, someone who expropriates, i.e., uses dishonest or illegal means to take wealth or booty, is beaten and his goods are burnt. The following was also recorded in Majma' al-Zawahid in the chapter of speaking before the Aimma rulers, the Messenger of Allah sallam, from Abu Hurairah from the Messenger of Allah sallam. Abu Hurairah said, "O Abu Hurairah, do not enter the proximity of the Umara. If you are compelled to do that, then don't exceed the limits of my sunnah, and do not let the fear of his sword or whip deter you from commanding him to have taqwa of Allah." Al-Imam al-Haythami commented, At-Tabarani related it in his Al-Awsat, and it, i.e. the Isnad, contains Abdurrahman bin Zayd bin Aslam, and he is da'if. I say Abdurrahman bin Zayd bin Aslam al-Ifriqi is da'if in hifth and is not saqit, i.e. completely disregarded or discarded. His hadith are recorded, and al-Bukhari used to authenticate him. That is, in addition to his strength in respect to the deen and proclaiming the truth, at the famous encounter with Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, in which he practically applied this hadith fully. Al-Hakim recorded the following in his Mustadrak. Abu Abbas, Abu Abdullah bin al-Hussein al-Qadi related to us in Marv city named Merv in Turkmenistan, and Abu Abdullah bin Muhammad bin Ali bin Makhrad al-Zawahiri in Baghdad. He said, Al-Harith bin Usama related to us, Sa'id bin Amr bin al-Dubai related to us, Muhammad bin Amr bin Alqamah related to us, from his father, from his grandfather, Alqamah bin Waqas al-Laythi. He said, Abatal, idle man, used to attend the Umara and make them laugh. So my grandfather said to him, "O to you, O son of so-and-so, why do you go to those people and make them laugh?" I asked that because I heard the messenger of Allah sallam, narrating from, I heard Bilal bin al-Harith al-Muhayni, the companion of the Prophet sallam, narrating that he said, "Indeed, the servant will speak a word that pleases Allah," whilst he did not think that it would reach what it reached, i.e. in terms of impact or significance. And so Allah will be pleased with him on the Day of Judgment. And indeed, the servant will speak a word from that which angers Allah, whilst he did not think that it would reach what it reached, i.e. in terms of impact or significance. And so Allah will be angry with it until the day he meets him. Al-Hakim then commented, this is a Sahih hadith used. Sahih Muslim used Muhammad bin Amr bin Alqama as evidential proof. Sa'id bin Amr established his isnad from him as presented above, and similarly as Sufyan al-Thawri, Ismail bin Ja'far, Abu Abdul Aziz al-Darawirdi, Muhammad bin Bishr al-Abdi, amongst others related to Al-Dhahabi said in a Talkhis, this is Sahih, and Al-Bayhaqi recorded in his Sunan al-Kubra via the path of Al-Hakim. I say the isnad was rendered as follows: Muhammad bin Amr bin Alqama from his father, from his grandfather, by each of Yazid bin Harun, Sufyan bin Uyayna, Abdah bin Sulaiman, bin Abu Muawiyah, Al-Fadl bin Musa, and Abdul Aziz bin Muslim, whilst Malik did not render it as such, and Hamad bin Salama erred in respect to it. Al-Hakim also recorded it with the accompanying story. It is Mustadrak in Ibn Hibban is Sahih and Ibn Majah in his Sunan. Okay, At-Tirmidhi recorded without the story in his Sunan as follows: Hannad related to us, Abda related to us from Muhammad bin Amr, my father related to me from my grandfather. He said, I heard Bilal bin al-Harith al-Muzani. He said, I heard the companion of the Messenger of Allah saying, indeed, one of you will speak a word that pleased Allah, whilst he did not think that it would reach what it reached, i.e. in terms of impact, then Allah will record for him his pleasure for it until the day he meets him. And indeed, one of you speak a word from which that angers Allah, whilst he did not think that it would reach what it reached, i.e. in terms of impact significance, then Allah will record his anger upon him for it until the day he meets him. At-Tirmidhi in his son, a chapter from Habiba, and this is hadith is Hasan Sahih, in addition to more than one related it to this form from Muhammad bin Amr, and Malik related this hadith from Muhammad bin Amr from his father, from Bilal al-Harith, but he did not mention it either. It's not from his grandfather. Ibn also recorded in his Sahih, Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, Malik in Muwatta, Abd bin Humayd in his Musnad, Hakim in his Mustadrak, Al-Humaydi in his Musnad, and At-Tabrani in his Mujam al-Kabir, amongst others. Okay, I think it's probably okay to stop here. Just I've just be honest with you, it's quite text heavy, and I'm starting to fall asleep.
It's messed up session.
I mean, inshallah, what I'll do is I think I'm getting the hang of how it's been how the formatting's a bit misplaced. So I mean, it's not ideal, but it's still manageable. Yeah, so I think it's good to stop here, because then we can we'll be done about an hour and a half.
Good.
Okay, let me just check to see if anyone's got any questions. We're doing Jama afterwards. Okay, check if there's any questions in the chat. If anyone's got any questions in the chat as well, raise your hands if you like. I'll just recap that. Okay, if anyone wants to raise their hand to speak far away, just raise your hand. Otherwise, if we don't hear anything, we can always. Okay, one person wants to speak. Give me a second. Okay, unmute. So my Zoom is playing a little bit up. So give me, yeah. Okay, far away, bruv.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad.
Hey.
Good question. Good question. Salim bin Abil Ja'd from Thawban, famously, as you know best, but the viewers can know as well, that Ahmad ibn Hanbal said that they did not meet, and the Dhahabi said that he done Hadlis, which is a wrong accusation. What he did was irsal, right?
No, not irsal, not Hadlis. Check the exterminating the green.
Yeah, I've went through some of it. That's why I'm just compiling some of my information right now. So when he says, for example, عن عمر بن الخطاب, عن عائشة, عن علي بن أبي طالب, they did not meet. There's no liqa, right, Ustad?
No. He was there and so on. Yeah, he's very ancient.
He's very ancient. Okay, he's very ancient.
Go to the back to the narration.
What I found is Al-Razi, I forgot his name now. Which Razi was it from the Muhaddithin? He says that Salim's brother, I forgot his name again right now, he also narrated from Thawban and is also an'ana due to the Tabi'een generation. They were more lenient with an'ana. They didn't always say sami'tu or haddathani. And they admit, Al-Razi says that he did narrate directly from Thawban. So when it comes to Salim bin Abil Ja'd's brother, they admit that he met Thawban and he narrated directly. But when it comes to Salim's, just because they don't like the metin, they make excuses to weaken it.
We know that is. I mean, anyway, just go and check the appendix that was Salim bin Abil Ja'd.
Yeah, I've checked the appendix, and I found out, of course, from your research, that even the other narrators from the other asanid, from Hani, Anas bin Malik, and Nu'man bin Bashir, especially Nu'man's line, the Syrian line, is very strong. Every narrator there is thiqah, he's reliable. Just a few guys say about one rawi that he narrates manakir, which even, how is that an objective standard in the first place? Obviously,
I think
he's
we discussed
narrating.
that in detail there, but anyway, the issue with the Salim Jad is just nothing. It's just
It's good. It's good that I asked you this, because I assumed that from Ali ibn Abi Talib and Umar ibn Khattab it was irsal and it was not connected. It was not
No,
muttasil.
from Ali, definitely not. From everyone else, because the most ancient with Ittisal, expressing Ittisal clearly, is from Nu'man ibn Muqarrin before the battle in Nahawand. That's
Yes.
year 22. And also seems to be his was from the delegation who went to Umar with the death issue and the booties and things like that. And Umar announced that on the pulpit while he was weeping.
I see.
That's also narrated by Salim. I don't think he narrated anything from Umar otherwise. Check what's his narration from Umar otherwise. It's only this one. This one is he was from the delegation who went there.
And you mentioned that even if there was an intermediary between Thawban and Salim, which there isn't, as you're saying, the intermediary is Ma'dan ibn Abi Talha, who's also a thiqah. So again, they have no way out of the hadith.
No, Ma'dan ibn Abi Talha has the intermediate to Umar, not to this. No. Just read that end the section again carefully.
Yeah.
No, it's another issue.
It's good that I consulted you though. Now, so you're saying, I'll double check the appendix, that he even met Ali ibn Abi Talib directly and narrated from him, yes?
Definitely. He's already relatively old man at that time.
Yes.
Anyway, he was in the Battle of Nahawand and he reported that to Umar. That's the most certain one we know. And he also mentioned the speech of Nu'man ibn, and he mentioned there, we hear the Nu'man saying that. So in Nu'man, he was there and he was participating in the battle. Maybe he was like 18, 20 years old. And he was in the delegation reporting that to Umar.
So they lied a lot about Salim bin Abi Ja'd. Too many lies, wallahi.
That's because they want to get away from that. But that doesn't help them anything. We said exactly the same wording from Anas ibn Malik.
Anas ibn Malik and Nu'man bin Bashir. And it's word for word verbatim from what I recall, from what I remember.
And Nu'man Bashir, maybe he's narrating from Thawban because he was the ruler of Hams. And Nu'man Bashir seems to be too young to hear that from Messenger of Allah. But I will develop that further, inshallah.
So you're saying that Nu'man bin Bashir might have got it from Thawban, yes?
Yeah.
No problem. Same thing.
Yeah.
No problem.
No, it will be another supporting channel. There's a different channel of Salim bin Abi Ja'd.
Yes.
Try to go left, and it's not going to work.
Yes, exactly. The only weak channel from what we saw from your research is the channel of Hani, right? That's the only weak one. That is genuinely da'if.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's da'if. If you analyze it carefully, step by step, you see why it is not. For example, Abu Salih, they say it's da'if, but Abu Salih is only in his hadith with An from bin Abbas. That's where he most likely was doing tadlis.
Yeah.
He was with Abbas and he narrated for him many other things directly. He was present, he was logged because the story with Abbas and all things. And Mut'a, the story.
Yes.
Abdullah ibn Zubayr beat him up and shaved.
Yes.
Then we have the from Hani, his first class theory, no problem, because he was her Mawla and she pushed him to study and learn. And then we have the two other guys who are not very much like, I think, Shu'ayb ibn Bayan and Al-Muttalib ibn Muhallib ibn Abi, and which although this man is much known, but see the discussion there in detail. Nothing negative or positive narrated about him.
I see.
He's the brother of a linguist, and there is nothing negative to be over there, and nothing positive very much.
So we know that with Salim, that none of his contemporaries, as you've written, accused him of tadlis. And the first one was Dhahabi, from what I researched. But what about Irsal? His contemporaries, did they accuse him of Irsal or not, Ustad?
Irsal Ahmed bin Hanbal. Mursal lam yasma'.
That doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Just both Ahmed bin Hanbal.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Are ignorant about the first century anyway, generally.
Yeah.
going out of Sal and so on. Ahmed Hanbal avoided deliberately listening to the Sirah and Maghazi, and deliberately avoid listening to hadith which doesn't like, so he cannot be relied upon anything related to the first century specifically. In the second century, whatever he says, there are many other people narrating, so they'll force him in the corner anyway. But the same with Abu Hatim, and he major blunders, many blunders there. Some of them are just.
Oh yeah, when I said Al-Razi, I think it was Abu Hatim Al-Razi. Yes, exactly.
Abu Hatim is first century Irsal, claim of Irsal. He has a diarrhea there.
Oh really? To that extent, right? Wow.
Some of them is laughable. Like for example, you were discussing the possibility of Muhammad bin Sirin meeting or not meeting Ibn Mas'ud.
Yeah.
Something like here, you say, we don't know if he met him or not. Ibn Mas'ud died before Ibn Sirin was born. They meet. So he doesn't know this, such simple facts. No, he's very poor in knowing what's happening.
So, Ustad, you know, from the people of Jarh and Ta'deel, generally speaking, I know they have their biases. Evidently, we've caught out their lies and their exaggerations based on their ta'assub, etc. many times. However, if you were to give one or two names, who would be the usual reference points for Jarh and Ta'deel from that century, from that generation?
The generation would be Shu'bah. It's number one.
Shu'bah. Okay, Shu'bah is the number one guy, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Ustad, by the way, I don't know what you said about. Do you have any aqwal about Sha'bi?
Sha'bi, no discussion about Sha'bi is a great imam.
Because I've some of the brothers that I'm in touch with, they've quote very bad things about Sha'bi against Ali ibn Abi Talib.
Like what? No. Just
I have to double check, of course. I can't say anything right now.
Someone say something, say, stop here. We're with Sha'bi, you know. Bring me the narration and where it is.
Yeah. Well, if I'm of course I'm very busy with other stuff, so I'm not going to focus on Sha'bi. It's not very important. But I just wanted to hear your perspective. If I come across any important hadith involving Sha'bi, I will then bring the research when it's relevant to you, and you will assess what you think.
No hadith Sha'bi is about any attack or any relevance, except some people imagining things. Like someone told me that somehow Zuhri was present in the crucifixion of Zayd ibn Ali. It's utterly nonsensical.
Yeah, that's what the Zaydis claim. They say he was, because he was an Umayyad scholar, they have a thing negative towards him.
That does not mean that you were present at the crucifixion.
Of course.
You must be a scholar and you visited China. What does this mean? That's not something to do history. That's not.
But Ustad, if I'm being fair, I'm not. Even me, I was influenced by the idea that Zuhri has a lot of problematic things about him, especially the idraj. I haven't investigated it thoroughly to make a judgment, but I am open to suspicion about Zuhri as well.
Claims that he brings the narration, the source, and then we can discuss. Otherwise,
of course,
dabbing in the dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
No problem.
Say something like that, or Ali ibn Abi Talib narrated, this one narrated. If you want to find the maximum number of fabrication and lies put in the mouth of anyone, is Ali ibn Abi Talib. So many fabrication put in his mouth.
Yeah, number one is Ali, then probably Ibn Abbas. Yeah, of course.
Ibn Abbas, yeah.
Yeah, both of these two.
Is maximum, because the one he thinks they are lied by him, they invent things and put in his mouth, which they think is positive, it's actually negative. And the one enemy to him, they are more intelligent. Muawiyah does not fabricate directly. He moves people to fabricate in the background.
Yes.
So many of these Shia stories are actually initiated by Muawiyah, and he slipped it under the carpet, and they swallowed it.
Many of the, I think the most reliable reports of Ali is through Harith and Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, right, Ustad?
Maybe, we don't know, but any report has to be studied in its own way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba has a lot of gems regarding Ali.
And compare with another narrators, yeah.
Yeah, you have to corroborate it. You have to look for qara'in, etc. Yes.
Controversial persons, you have to do thoroughly corroboration.
Yeah. Well said.
Salam.
Thank you.
Salam alaikum.
But this translation is not very pleased. Anyway, we will re-edit the book anyway. It's very important to have it pristine as possible and correct things.
Salam alaikum. Can you hear me?
Oh, so, yeah.
Okay, I have a question about this hadith. I came across the hadith in Sunan Abi Dawud narrated by Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, and the hadith goes, أَفَلَا أَخُذُ سَيْفِي وَأَضَعُهُ عَلَى عَاتِقِي. I don't know if you have seen that hadith before, and someone used that as evidence basically for pacifism, and if someone attacks your family, like you don't do anything. If he comes inside your house, you just sit there, don't do anything, and
Even if
that's
this
the
hadith singularly say that, there are many other hadiths which balance it clearly. But that hadith, if you bring it with the isnad, it will be good. The text and just paste it for
okay.
Rash, and we will study it. Most likely it will be
Okay,
good.
inshallah.
Many hadith are going all the way to Abu Dharr. They are most likely broken. We see.
Okay.
You have it in front of you now. You can read it. You read Arabic, read it to me. And maybe,
Yes, but I haven't. I've cropped out kind of the beginning of the hadith, so it's not complete. Let me check quickly. Give me 1 second now.
when
Look for the hadith.
did Abu Dawud say anything about it, comment about it, and so on, that may have value. So just get in Abu Dawud narrated number so and so on in the book fulani or this edition, because there's various prints. Usually طبعة الرسالة is the cleanest, one of the latest and cleanest, but any other print. From Sheikh, usually there's no problem, but the moment you get close to Abu Dharr, there's the problem is that usually the people have gaps. Almost no narrator of Abu Dharr is known to be have met with him and narrated from him, except one is called one of his cousins from also Ghifari, Fulan of Samit. That's the only one. He lived with Abu Dharr. He made narration which are trustworthy and reliable. All others are most likely fabricated or broken. And since he is ancient in the past, they can put that on his doorstep, knowing that he has the testimony of Prophet that nobody is more truthful than Abu Dharr. You know the famous hadith. The dusty one did not carry any, and the green one, meaning the sky, did not cover any, who is more truthful than Abu Dharr al-Ghifari. So
I lost the beginning of the hadith, isnad, but it's in Sunan Abi Dawud.
Yeah. Just read the last part of the isnad, the one above, the one below Abu Dharr, closer to Abu Dawud. Usually the way from Abu Dawud, Sheikh is usually there's really no problem there. This is 3rd century, 2nd century. All men there are well known and scrutinized probably. But the deeper one, especially when concerning Abu Dharr. If you get it now, can take a look quickly.
I can't find it at the moment, but if there's a way to send it, I've pasted the what do you call it, a section of the hadith in the chat.
Okay. But the hadith which is relatively known is that Abu Dharr was sleeping in the masjid in Medina. And they said, what will you do if you're expelled out of this masjid? Say, I will go to the Holy Mosque in Mecca and be like one of the pigeons of the masjid. Say, what's happening if you're expelled from that? And he said, I think I go to Beit al-Maqdis. Say, what do you do if you're expelled from that? Say that I put my sword on my sword. Okay. Obviously talking about rulers. That's very clear from the context. Not someone comes to take your money or rape your wife. So if someone involves blood in this thing, this is an idiot, completely blatant idiot. And then he said, no, I guide you something better for you, not for the Ummah, for you. Obey and let him move you wherever you are supposed to move. Because he is not the man who can lead a rebellion, nor the one who can have leadership. This is the other hadith. We told him, whatever you do, don't manage the money of an orphan, nor accept any leadership. You are weak. You cannot be a leader. Now, the money of the orphan is a thief? No. He will waste the money in charity, but that's not the job of money manager for orphan. The job of money manager is to hold firmly to the money and develop it for the orphan. until you hand over to him. If he wants to do a charity, he does later in the future. You are not doing charity in his behalf. You are managing the money in his behalf, keeping the money in his behalf, growing it in his behalf. Act like a stingy, prudent man in his behalf. But Abu Dhar will not look at this point. He will look in the other aspects, which is an error. As he said, don't manage the money of any orphan and don't take leadership. You are too weak. So he asked me, why don't you appoint me? You appoint many people. Say it's an imana and it is Yawm al-Qiyamah, it's a disgrace, except if somebody shot and you are weak. You will not be able to carry this amana. Mismanage it. In the positive side, because it needs to be managed properly. Being in charge of people need to be strict in certain situation, lenient in other situation. That's not Abu Dhar. Abu Dhar will be emotional and going to the extremes. That's his character is well known. Character is well known. So that's advice. So he said, no, move them. And it materialized later in life. After that. And when he was kicked by Muawiyah to Uthman, he spoke to Uthman. He told him, Allah told me that. And I'm not from the Khawarij who fight against the rulers. But Muawiyah is an error. And Uthman could not answer him and said, okay, let's keep the peace, no confrontation, go to near Medina, Rabada, about 150 kilometers, I think. We can check with how far it is from Medina, towards Najd in the east. And that's where he lived until he died. Okay. If it may be from this category, and someone made it like dropped all the issues of the rulers, expelling from the Haramain, all of these things. The hadith about being expelled from Medina to Mecca and so on, all of these things, clearly the one who expelled him, if they, who is the they? The rulers, who can come to you in a masjid and say, you get out of this city, go to another city. Your neighbor, your cousin? No, the rulers. They just have to read things correctly. If it is this, an mutilated version, but if you did you get it? It's not until now, or you are not able to get it now. Get it in the habit in the future. Bring the hadith in this with isnad, and then we can take a look quickly. Sometimes very clear who is the narrator of Abu Dhar is someone who's quite late and there's a gap. So in between, some kind of a devil, or God knows what is there in between. Maybe an angel, we don't know. And from the matan, then you see what's going on. Like the famous hadith of Abu Dhar that about the son prostrating. I think that's from Abu Dhar, prostrating under the throne, and then how many prophets were there and how many messengers, all these. That's broken. That's not correct. And many people rely on that. And count 400,000 prophets and 13 messengers, and this and that and so. Not one sentence of that established from anybody else except from allegedly from Abu Dhar. And if you get the isnad, is clearly not connected. Yeah. So it's easy to. That's the reason, be extremely cautious about anything related from Abu Dhar.
Okay, I think I've gotten the isnad now. حدثنا مسدد حدثنا حماد بن زيد عن أبي عمران الجوني عن المشعث بن طريف عن عبد الله بن صامت عن أبي ذر قال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أبا ذر قلت لبيك يا رسول الله وسعديك فذكر الحديث قال فيه كيف أنت إذا أصاب الناس موت يكون البيت فيه بالوصيف يعني القبر قلت الله ورسوله أعلم أو قال ما خار الله لي ورسوله قال عليك بالصبر أو قال تصبر ثم قال لي يا أبا ذر قلت لبيك وسعديك قال كيف أنت إذا رأيت أحجار الزيت قد غرقت بالدم قلت ما خار الله لي ورسوله قال عليك بمن أنت منه قلت يا رسول الله أفلا آخذ سيفي وأضعه على عاتقي قال شاركت القوم إذن قلت فما تأمرني قال تلزم بيتك. قلت فإن دخل علي بيتي؟ قال فإن خشيت أن يبهرك شعاع السيف فألق ثوبك على وجهك يبوء بإثمك وإثمه. قال أبو داود لم يذكر المشعث في هذا الحديث غير حماد بن زيد. And it also mentions that Al-Albani mentions that it's Sahih.
Don't worry with the Albani, he is Hatib later sometimes. But here, this
Yes.
read the text. فذكر الحديث. Which hadith has been mentioned there? فذكر الحديث. Mentioned something about fitna, about something like that. So there's a part which has been dropped deliberately by someone else. I don't think it's from a summit.
Okay.
Hmm?
I am trying to see.
With حجار الزيت, which fitna is that? I think حجار الزيت, this one Abu Dhar did not teach any one of them. That's most likely if he reaches this حجار الزيت is the fitna of the invasion of the criminal Yazid, possibly. Or something in Mecca. Okay, I think حجار الزيت. We can check that later in more detail. Check that by using artificial intelligence. What's about how, when the blood, where is it, which أحجار الزيت are meant there. They will give you the information. Abu Dhar did not reach them. But was it ذكر الحديث? Most likely getting there or haram and so on. And he dropped that. Okay. You see in الحديث something has been dropped. فذكر الحديث وقال. ايش الحديث اللي ذكره? Where it is? What is it?
Okay.
That which have been dropped deliberately from one narrator, maybe from this unknown guy who Hamad bin Zayd mentioned in the Isnad. The others dropped that. Other narrators seems to be Abu Dawud noticed that other narrators made it from Hamad bin Zayd from a summit. Hamad bin Zayd way too late to reach a summit. So impossible. So it's clearly there's a broken Isnad in the general one. But Hamad bin Zayd is very thabt, very exacting. He has an intermediary, and this one has to be scrutinized. It's not one of the first. Maybe this one mixed to a hadith, or not necessarily fabricated. Some people memorize a hadith not correctly, or mixed to a hadith, or mention the hadith and for the other drop it. This clearly about qital fitna. It's not about someone coming to rape your wife or take your money. That's the hadith Abdullah Amr ibn al-As and so on. It's very obvious. You should be enough awake and savvy that will not what's the beginning of hadith? Which situation is that? When Ahjar Zayt may have been covered with blood. Did that ever happen? And so on. Yeah. Besides, like for example, the hadith Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As who misunderstood. I said because he was very rebellious against his father, treating him not nicely. So I say, obey your father as long as he's alive, or as long as you are alive. He misunderstood it. Even if you obey your father, doesn't mean induce obedience. Why not? And that's the reason he went with him with Muawiyah to Siffin, but he did not participate in the fight. So, which kind of thinking is that? Show someone he does not have deep thinking. In this matter, he did not think properly. If you think going to Muawiyah, he advised his father against going to Muawiyah. Told him, let's get to Ali. Ali is the right one. And his father said, no, I'm going. And he told him, yeah, you're advising me something good for my akhirah. And the other son advising something for you good for dunya, to avoid doing Muawiyah. And he said, I'm going to Muawiyah. He wants dunya. You obey your father in this, who clearly said for akhirah. He's one of the things giving him dunya, he doesn't care very much about akhirah. That you always say, okay, go, ma'asala, bye-bye, thank you very much, love you, daddy, bye, and go stay home. But he didn't understand it properly. Many people have been advised for some certain advice, they didn't understand properly. Because not everyone is intelligent enough, especially in confusing situations. Like the hadith of Mas'ud of today, they say, who is the most knowledgeable? Even he crows in his bum, the one who knows where is the truth when people are confused and in fitna. That's where knowledge expresses itself, real knowledge, deep knowledge, which connects all information and get it get it properly analyzed and then applied to the reality. People of shallow way of thinking, and many of the Sahaba are shallow in thinking. Not all of them are abqari, intelligent like Ali ibn Abi Talib or Ibn Abbas and so on. And others are great fighter, but they are matter of nil in matter of. And some are definitely weak, and as I told them, you are weak. If the case of fitna, just stay home. And the hypothetical question, if you enter me, so, because you don't know is right and wrong, you are not qualified to make the distinction. Just leave it. And that's better for you. That's a choice for Abu Dhar. It's not for the whole Ummah. Otherwise, you would stood at the pulpit and tell the Ummah that. It's very obvious. Just I give you certain way how to think. Not someone say, oh, he advising pacifism. You just conclude yourself from that. But he said otherwise in many other occasions. So you have to put that together, understand it properly. Especially war and fight and so on. It's very complex. You have to look at it from various sides and from various introductions are there. If you go the simple-minded way, you'll never get the full picture in something which is complex. Fitan and wars and internal dispute and civil war is a complex situation. You have to take all evidences, all aspects, and see how it begins and how things developed and what's the justification every side is bringing. Then you can't come to a conclusion. Sometimes you're not able to do that, but you have certain evidences otherwise, like Huzaym ibn Thabit. He went with Ali to Jamal, but did not fight. And he went to Safin, was not fighting. And he said, I'm not going to do anything until say, who kills Ammar? Then I know the one who killed them are the one who Baghya, and they will fight against them. Then that's the absolute truth is clear for me. So he did not trust his analysis. He relied on the hadith of Sayyidullah, he knew. And the moment he heard that Ammar is killed, he went, took shower, dressed himself, and said, now the truth is apparent like the sun in the sky. And he fought and died immediately the same day. I mean, the day he took a shower. Maybe in the same day, later in the Ammar in the morning and it's in the afternoon, for example. We don't know the fine detail like that, but only when he knew that Ammar has been killed by the camp of Muawiyah, say, and now now I know what is the falsehood with certitude. He is not willing to fight just on guesswork. But he has this point, and he trusted that absolutely, and he has his right to trust that absolutely. It's very clear. So some people need something like that. So these issues are complex. But anyway, if especially this hadith, you should stop immediately. وذكر hadith. What is ذكر hadith? What hadith he mentioned? What story is connected to that? Okay?
Okay.
So if someone come with this advocating passage, advocating for without alone, he did not stand in a pulpit say something like that. Yeah. And second point, what is this hadith mentioned, which is in summary? فذكر حديث وقال كذا كذا كذا. What is the hadith? Why is someone hiding it? Or someone assume it to be known? What is the hadith known? Is it narrated separately? And this man who is mentioned only by Hamad ibn Zayd, which he must mention. The others may have dropped it deliberately because they don't trust him very much. Hamad ibn Zayd truthfully said that. And so on. We have to describe this man much more thoroughly than. Yeah. Maybe he's joined to a hadith according to his desire, according to his imagination, and maybe in good faith, thinking this is connected to this other one, and the first one is known to the people, he don't narrate it. A better scrutiny than that must be done. Anyway, any hadith, especially about fitna, about fight, about accounting ruler, that's the reason the whole book, how many ways we mentioned the isnad, and then another sahabi, another direction, for example, who stand on the doors of authority will be exposed to fitna and is in danger.
The hadith of Hudaytha, are they fabricated in entirety, or is there, you know, the one of what shall I do if I see the bad times, Ya Rasulullah? And according to one hadith, the one in Muslim we know is fabricated, the Madkhali version, but the other one it says do i'tizal from all firaq.
But
one of these.
the hadith in full first. The hadith in full first. If there's no imam, which is worthy of imamah, then avoid all these other camps
Yeah.
or calling for the interest of Jahannam. That's clear. تقعد على أبواب جهنم.
Yeah.
Then what to do? So don't join any one of them. Join the imam of the Muslimin. Khalifa lillah al-ard, or imam Muslimin. So if there's no imam, they have no community. It's a completely disintegrated society. So then, if necessary, avoid all these groups and so on, even if you buy it on a root of a tree, because any one of them is leading to Jahannam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So what to do? And you are alone, and there's no Muslim community or a state. It's disintegrated, because if there's no jama'ah, no imam, meaning there's no Muslim community, organized Muslim community. They're scattered people, a tribe here, a group here, and so on.
Yeah.
Extreme civil war, even worse. It didn't even reach that level in the fight between Muawiyah and Ali. Did not reach it. Because the Imam and Jama'ah was there all the time.
Yeah.
So you have to, but Hudayfa is asking about hypothetical things. And after every call, check the one which have even a page sized one, which publicized in the net. Would even better than the Bukhari one. When he answered him, what is it after this khair shar, for example? He answered him 3 times. Ya Hudayfa, ta'allam kitab Allah wa amal ma fi. Don't
exactly
stick to that. 3 times. He insisted, and he answered him, it will be like this, and it will be like this. And then insisted, and then 3 times he said, that's in Ibn Hibban narration. So
yeah.
Not all of them complete.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But these things must be studied better than that. The moment you take a bit of a hadith, you are lost. You are done. You're going to the abyss. You yourself will be going to the abyss. Getting yourself to the abyss.
Without doubt, yeah.
That's it. All the hadith related to Ish must be scanned. All isnad must be scrutinized, and then see how can this put together in a consistent way. Then we have something reasonable there. If it cannot be, at least some of the asanid must cross the bridge. Must be. If all asanid are weak or fabricated in various levels, then there's a question mark. Yeah, there's a question.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes make us say that so this corroborates this. Like I'm working one of the research group now about the hadith. إذا ذكر أصحابي فأمسكوا، إذا ذكر القدر فأمسكوا، وإذا ذكرت النجوم فأمسكوا. All asanid are messy and rejectionable. The best one is the one in the dictations of the Razak. It's not rejection until Tawus. But Tawus is say قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Is mursal. Tawus has master a teacher. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, Abdullah ibn Abbas. So definitely not from those or in front of this level. Obviously, this is Tawus to be criticized. Most likely, Tawus himself wanted to avoid discussing these issues, but took from some people before him who thought they are maybe reliable and so on. But he could not mention their names. He cannot rely on their names. Also, several people and thought, oh, that's well established from Messenger of Allah, just to get himself out of trouble because he's avoiding he was himself avoiding discussion of the Qadar. How do we know that? In the year 100, the second time Al-Hasan al-Basri made his pilgrimage, because he has only 2 pilgrimages. His history is very well documented. And when the year 54 or 55, he did his first pilgrimage, because all the time before that he was busy in the conquest in Afghanistan and Khorasan. That's well known. And working as a writer for one of the leaders there. Anyway, then he came back and until he settles a few years, then he went for his first Hajj, and second Hajj was the year 100. And then people were rumoring that Hasan al-Basri is a Qadari, does not believe in destination. It's very confusing what means with Qadari anyway. So people said, okay, there's an opportunity. We'll meet in Masjid al-Khif and we'll discuss the issue over the issue. Obviously, this leaked, or this information came to Tawus. So he was the oldest and most respectful from the company, from the followers.
Tabi'in, yeah.
Tabi'in. It was like the sheikh. So his Tawus started a maw'idah, and after Salat al-Isha, he started a maw'idha and advice and admonishment and so on, talking about everything except Qadar until Fajr. Until everyone dispersed and nobody asked Hasan al-Basri. One asked Hasan casually. The following question show you what they mean. They are confused. Say, ask Hasan al-Basri, Man khalaqa Iblis? Hasan al-Basri, subhanallah. Is there another creator except Allah? So most likely they think Hasan al-Basri think the evil is made by Iblis and Iblis is not created or rebelled against Allah or is another deity. That's clear kufr. That's dualism.
Yeah.
They confuse this with this with this, but at least they understood that the issue of Qadr is related how good and evil came to the universe or is visible in the universe. This old question. So it is not related that knowing of the future or what. So the same when they asked Abdullah ibn Umar, the two guys coming from Iraq and saying there are people in our area يقولون لا قدر وإن الأمر أنف. Things are static, not written in eternity, something like that. So mixing. Abdullah ibn Umar most likely did not understand what unuf means in the first place. You say, tell them I have nothing to do with them. I hear them say who does not believe in Qadar without specifying what Qadar means, without even clarifying the issues of unuf, because most likely he did not understand.
He didn't understand, yeah, exactly.
The moment you go out of the hadi al-zahir, beard and so on, and sandals and the color of the thobe, Abdullah ibn Umar will be sinking. All his history shows that he's incapable to make really a deep and connected judgment.
Exactly.
Really, all his life.
Very clear, yeah.
And I say who does not believe in Qadar, Al-Qadar, we don't know what Al-Qadar meant even. I don't think he knows exactly what the message meant to Al-Qadar. حرقه الله بالنار يوم القيامة.
Yeah.
Know that. You don't need حديث المسجد الله. إن المجرمين في ضلال يوم يسحبون على وجوههم في نار جهنم ذوقوا مس سقر إن كل شيء خلقناه بقدر. وأمرنا إلا لا ولمحتم بكلمح بالأمر لواحدة كلمح بالبصر. We have the absolute dominant of the universe and we show the universe as it is. There's no other creator. Nobody can rebel and escape from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Get that out of your mind. It's only one deity. That's the meaning. That's the meaning of Qadr. What you call evil, if it's not evil, maybe it's imaginary, whatever you call evil is, if it's created from Allah. Maybe it's not created, maybe what the people call evil is just the lack of goodness.
Yeah.
The absolute evil is the absolute nothingness, which is impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to look from the other side. It's a very complex issue, deep issue. Obviously, people at the time were not understanding that. Even the philosophers, they were wavering, going up and down, not knowing what to do with it. So you don't expect about the simple. The one who lives sometimes in a dream world. You know the story about when he met Abdullah ibn Sayyad and then has with him a dispute and so on. And then he started, and then he had a dispute degenerated and he imagined that Abdullah ibn Sayyad became big and filling the street, so he beat him with a stick in a state of not complete mental presence, and went and complained to Hafsa, and Hafsa added insult to injury, saying, didn't you hear the Messenger say he will come out when he's provoked in anger? That means at the end of time, maybe it's a head of a state in the far east Khorasan who will be provoked and come angry, invading countries along the way. Maybe it's that, but it's not. So also the story that Nafi said one morning, he looked in the sky, Umar, and saw Zuhra, and he started cursing her and saying very bad things. It's not possible excellent. Nafi, and said, what is wrong with you, Nafi? You are insulting a najm, a shihab in heaven, which is a musakhar, has no free will, nothing. It's under Allah's control. There was a woman called the Zuhra on earth. Seduced Harut and Marut. The famous story, someone narrated obviously with bad isnad and lifted it to Messenger of Allah, which is not analysis. And this one seduced them, and there's the wrong funny story. I have a piece of writing. I don't think I published it. Maybe I will publish it for fun. And
first time I'm hearing this one, made me laugh. Wallahi.
She learned how to ascend to heaven, and Allah masakha shihab. deformed into a star. So there was, before that, there was no Zuhra.
Oh Lord.
If he can get in his mind something like that, how much you trust his at least his understanding? But
Exactly.
if he knows something, he said, I عندما say, من لم يؤمن بالقدر حرقه الله بالنار يوم القيامة. صحيح, but what's the qadar? What does it mean? He will fail. He will not tell you anything. Besides, he did not comment what is unuf. Maybe the two asking do not know the difference between qadar and being unuf also themselves. Total confusion. So if you refer to these to make your deen or you build up your mind, then blame yourself if you go astray. So you have also to look at it on his background. Is he really sophisticated enough if it's by meaning or so on?
Yeah.
It's very serious point. Must be clearly.
So, going back to Tawus and the discussion about Qadar and Qada, did they mention these fine points that we mentioned today, or did they not? Did they avoid them completely?
Whichever. No. In the meeting in the Khalifa, when we wanted to discuss publicly, at the time there was a bit of freedom because at the time Khalifa was Umar ibn Abdul Aziz.
Okay, yes.
So they thought they would settle the matter and discuss it, and Tawus just cut the issue by not discussing, because most likely he feels that there's no way we are going to settle that. Just have disputes over dispute. So he gave maw'idha about various things, anything except qadar.
So is it true that Hassan al-Basri is from the Qadariya, or is that a
We don't know what they mean with that. But because the man asked him, who created Iblis? Subhanallah. Is this a question?
Yeah.
Created except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So most likely the meaning, Qatada is oracle saying everything is biqadar except evil. But we don't know what Qatada means except evil. Maybe he means maybe so sophisticated that he believes evil is not created in the first place. It's the lack of goodness.
That's good.
That's a deep point. But some people say that actually in ancient times, and the Qatada is such a genius, possibly he thought this way. But he was not discussing that very much publicly.
Yeah.
Because there was an account. The Jabari was doing a campaign against that. And this is Qadari, this is not Qadari, and so on. And nobody dared confront him because nobody can confront Abu al-Khattab. And so the depth of his mind show you in his statement when they ask him about Samra ibn Jundub and Ziyad and so on. Yeah. He did the correct statement. Said Samra ibn Jundub is only one evil deed of Ziyad. And Ziyad is only one evil deed of Muawiyah. That's just the conclusion.
Yep.
So how bad Samura compared to Ziyad? I said, no. Samura is appointed by Ziyad. So it's one evil deed of Ziyad. Whatever Ziyad appears to be more reasonable and less bloodshedding than Samura, it doesn't make any difference. Because the crime of Samura goes to the account of Ziyad.
Yes.
Account. And then of them, only one evil deed of Muawiyah. So Ziyad gets a copy of the crime of Samura and the sin, and Muawiyah gets the copies of all of them. That shows you a kind of deep thinking, understanding. Not a naive thinking like the people of Jamajim, the one who rebelled against Al-Hajjaj. From the statement mentioned from them, the state who did not rebel against him committed kufr and so on. But they didn't declare rebellion against Abdullah ibn Marwan. Hajjaj is a point. Abdullah ibn Marwan is the barking dog of Ali ibn Marwan. So it doesn't make sense to rebel against Hajjaj and not rebel against Abdullah ibn Marwan. Show some kind of shallowness, naivety, simple-mindedness, and also political simple-mindedness, because the leader of the whole Jamajim was Ibn al-Ash'ath. Ibn al-Ash'ath was a commander under Hajjaj, and they have dispute, and he decided to get out of the Islamic domain. Then he changed him and rallied the people to fight al-Hajjaj. No, he took them for a ride because they are naive, not because they're bad intended. So good intention is not enough. You have to be much more deeper, much more analytical in these critical things about qadar, things about war and peace. Not that one should give you a bit of a hadith and take you for a ride. Say, this advocate for pacifism. Give me the hadith and let us see what's going on. And then the other hadith in the area, how this fits with this. The hadith about fighting the rule and killing them if necessary, and so on, etc. Addressing the ummah. This addressing Abu Dhar specifically. And we know about Abu Dhar, his character sides. We know about his truthfulness and excellence in that. But we know very well that he's a weak person in the sense that he is not a good manager for all for money. Not because he would take even one atom weight from it for himself. No, we'll be just giving charity for the matter. That's not your job as a manager. So don't manage the money of any orphan. You will not be able to do it the proper way, because the orphan manager must be almost up to the level of stinginess. No penny goes out except for investment, increasing the money, and the zakat. He's obliged to bring it out in his behalf, because zakat is on the money, not on the person as a person. So even if he's underage, and he owns money, the zakat has been calculated from his guardian or manager. But that's very clear. The same with the taking leadership of two. We will not be able to do the imara as it should be. He'll be going to extreme in emotions and requiring the people to do more than Allah required from them. A real leader must know this man is capable of this, I give him this. And don't overload him. This man is weak, run away from battlefield, I will pamper him and get him back. Save him from running away with his life, and so on. Not the opposite. But Abu Dhar would not be able to do that. Expect the people to be idealists, going to the extreme. It's not going to work this way. As a leader of a community. So he's unable to be a leader. So that person with this characteristic, what is most truthful, as the person ما أقلت الغبراء ولا أضلت الخضراء أصدق لهجة من أبي ذر. Nobody is as truthful as this man. No one walks off the dusty one, that's the earth, under the green one, that's the heaven, is as truthful than Abu Dhar. It doesn't help to manage your offer money. It doesn't help to be a leader of group. Truthfulness. Just stick to your truthfulness. Just announce what you believe. And he never failed to announce it to the last dot. Word for word, last dot. That's exactly what the Messiah said about him. So all of these have to be studied. Don't take a madkhali or a donkey take you for a ride. What's about this hadith? What's about the other hadith? Get me all that. Did you get all the hadith in that chapter? Is the hadith addressed to us or to Abu Dhar? To whom it is addressed? But unfortunately, and this is made by some people like Madkhali and so on, most likely deliberately, to misguide from the way of Allah. What they want is that you prostrate and worship their rulers. That's it. Put that in your mind, and you know all their arguments are based on either ignorance and following their leader, who are more ignorant and more criminal than them, or deliberately to misguide you, to get the job done, which they have been paid. They have earned thorns from the trees. That's what they got, and they think they got something good for dunya and akhirah. In reality, that's the opposite. Some of them think, some of them don't care about that. They know what they are doing. They can't give up the salary and the money given to them by the rulers. If you know these facts, then all these arguments will not shake you. First question, get me the hadith in full in Islam. Second question, is that to Abu Dhar alone or to the Ummah? We have many hadith addressed to the Ummah, not to any specific person. That's the guidance from heaven to everyone. This is specific for Abu Dhar. Why Abu Dhar is great and most truthful? Yeah, but Messiah said this and this and this. That's what established from Abu Dhar. And then thirdly, what they say, فذكر الحديث and mention this and this. What is ذكر الحديث? Which hadith is mentioned there? Yeah. Then we go there. That's for the matter. Then we go to the isnad. Abu Dawud says clearly, only Hamad ibn Zayd mentioned this intermediary, Ash'ath ibn Zayd or Ash'ath or something like that. Individual is or not that. All others did not mention it. This is a testimony for Hamad ibn Zayd exactness and truthfulness, yes. Because the other ones who are like the same age of Hamad, because Hamad ibn Zayd died 67, 167 Hijri. And this Ibn Samit must have died late in the first century, but maximum. He could not reach even the beginning. So how could they ever meet? No. The Samit. That one mentioned the Isnad. So between them, another man. The others skipped this one because they knew there's a man they didn't like, So something because of support their madhab, something of stupidity or something, the God knows, something are disease in the heart. We don't know what the motivation of the readers. Yeah. So we have to be very careful about these things. Very thoroughly and very careful. Okay. But still worth what the hadith we inshallah will scrutinize this man. Maybe he's completely majhul or something like that, at least. And this hadith shows that there's a problem with him. The least is that he committed major errors by mixing two hadith and so on in an unskillful way, maybe with good intention. But there's a key word, إذا شاركت القوم, meaning the people are fighting against the other, nobody is guided, nobody is having a good, well-established Sharia reason by acting. They are just in a Jahiliyyah fight. One for tribalism, one for money, one for this, one for that. Yeah, and there's plenty. Okay, so I think that's a philosophy how to deal with the hadith. The catastrophe begins with ignore the Quran, number one. Secondly, the calamity will peaks when you add to that, beside ignoring the Quran, cutting it in pieces, and one part ayah, second ayah, and then you think you can get away with that. And then the Sunnah is even worse, because every one hadith by its alone is not qat'i. Whatever you do, you have to get all other channels, see the wording, how to fit the wording, and you get the conclusive wording, hopefully as close as it was. Is it Adam say Allah spoke it every year, Allah spoke it. But if you find various channels that you don't recognize properly, then there's something fishy. That's the way to do it. There's no other way. Yeah.
Okay, inshallah.
Okay.
Same again next week and Sunday. We'll probably be about 15 minutes later, 8:15 next week, inshallah, just so we can do Maghrib before.
Okay, 8:15.
Yeah.
Oh, make it 8:30. So we have,
Okay, 8:30, inshallah.
then we have a leeway, and this. We don't go block by 15, well, like half, and then maybe later to another half, and then even people can do Isha even if they want before. And then we'll see how it works. Okay. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. وبارك على محمد وعلى محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. تصبحون على خير، والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.